Good morning, I'm Isaiah Jacob. Last night on the ice, the Jackets fell to the Sharks 3-2. Now dropping 3 of their last 4, the CBJ are sitting in the final wildcard spot, just 1 point ahead of the Ottawa Senators. The Jackets host the Bruins today at 5, who are sitting 1 spot ahead in the wildcard race. Yesterday in MLB action, both Ohio teams got a win as the Reds beat the Red Sox 6-5 in the 11th, and then the Guardians beat the Mariners 6-5 in the 10th. Yesterday in college hoops, the 3-seed Illinois defeated the 9-seed Iowa 71-59, advancing to the Final Four. Later on last night, Arizona, the 1-seed, beat Purdue 79-64. Today in more Elite Eight action, the 1-seed Michigan plays the 6-seed Tennessee at 2:15. Then later on at 5:05, 1-seed Duke plays 2-seed UConn. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Live and local, it's time for Fan Sports Sunday. If the weekend is a big desert for sports talk, think of this show as an oasis.
Yes, here we go.
Come drink from our pool of hot takes as you quench your thirst with. I thought I was going somewhere, but I'm not. So let's just start the show.
Don't ask me about my bracket. I don't want to talk about it. I'm leading a protest of the NCAA tournament.
Wow.
I know. Tim May, here are the rules.
Okay.
We're going across bridges. We're holding up signs, looking down on highways. We're going to Goodell Park. We're protesting because I've hit that point where everything was going my way in the first weekend, and then in the second weekend, one thing goes wrong, and I'm done.
Here's the thing, brother. NCAA tournament, you can't go wrong usually going chalk most of the time.
Especially now.
By chalk, I mean, you see the 1 seeds, especially this year, the 1 seeds, it was hard to see something sprouting from something else. You know, the outlier, of course, is Illinois, a 3 seed getting to the Final Four, but there's a good chance there's going to be a 3-1 seeds and a 3 seed.
Yeah.
And so your bracket must have really been, I don't know, topsy-turvy ideas about who was going to be successul, pipe dreams, gut feelings.
No, it wasn't that crazy.
Letting your dog pick.
No, here's what happened. And I understand that talking about your own bracket really only plays on one day in sports radio. It's either depending on what time your show is, it's either the day before the tournament starts or the morning of the start of the tournament.
Yeah.
And so I'm not trying to go through all the ins and outs. I'll keep it very simple for you, okay? I had Houston winning it all. They lose to Illinois and the exciting Whites that the Fighting Illini have. And so that ruined everything for me. And it was the perfect region, too, because Florida lost to Iowa, which would have set up an easy path to the Final Four if they could just beat Illinois. And so I was thinking for a second, I might still have a shot. If Illinois can run the table, because who's going to have Illinois winning it all? Well, I'm in second place.
Your problem was
First
Houston.
place is Illinois winning it all, so I'm out.
Houston couldn't hit a shot, so that ruins you. I see. So you did take a little bit of flyer there, but I mean, this a month ago it looked like this was going to be number 1 seeds running the table, and all number 1 seeds, at least in my book. But Florida getting beat, that was not. I didn't see that happening. But Florida was a little bit of a late rally into the number 1 seed kingdom anyway. So, I mean, now I'm already putting Michigan over Tennessee, and I'm putting Duke over UConn. But Duke-UConn is my must-watch game today because Danny Hurley, love him or hate him, that guy gets his team to play. So that's going to be a curious game to me. I think Tennessee runs out of steam, although I really appreciate what Rick Barnes has done rallying that team and giving the poor Southeastern Conference a shot. So you're saying there's a shot?
Yeah, so Florida was an interesting team this year because I think they started the season way up there in the rankings, then fell all the way out of the rankings, and then scratched and clawed their way back all the way to being a 1 seed.
Found themselves.
Exactly. And so you mentioned Duke UConn. Catch that on Channel 10. You can see that at 5:05 p.m. So we got that one. I saw a funny tweet this morning that said, hey, Dan Hurley, get ready to learn the Duke whistle. So everyone's going to be figuring out everyone's going to be watching Dan Hurley freak out on the sidelines because everyone thinks that there's this bias for, and there may be. I'm not saying there isn't, but that's going to be an interesting one. But
well, that's how when somebody gets ahead, they're always getting a break. That's
right.
Most people's excuses for things. There are all kinds of reasons why officials wouldn't like Dan Hurley, though. I can understand that since he's in there.
Oh yeah,
since he's in there. Their base lobe of their brain from the time the game starts in one form or fashion about getting almost said a bad word, getting messed over by calls and things like that, or them not seeing things that
welcome
the
to
whole
the radio,
world
Tim.
can see. But yeah, I covered myself there. But
in this world of podcasting, by the way, Cole Bartimus, Tim May, Isaiah Jacob, your cast and crew for the day. In this world of podcasting, we are still governed by the FCC.
Yeah, I know that. I understand that. This is not the Howard Stern show.
No, it is not.
But even saying the Howard Stern show, doesn't that get some FCC attention? I'm just joking. But the bottom line is, yeah, I like Michigan and Duke to hold sway today. But, UConn's that team that's really come on at the end of the year. And there's no doubt that Danny Hurley can get a team to play basketball at the right time. So that will be must-see television. And I know no one around here likes to root for Michigan, but that is a hell of a team. And I definitely want to see Michigan play Arizona before this tournament's over.
Yeah, and you're probably going to get that matchup because I was looking at some of the odds last night, and everybody looks like they have a shot except for Tennessee. Like there is a seismic gap between just the shot of winning it all. It's Arizona's at the top, if I'm not mistaken, and then everything is like kind of incremental, just like a little bit beneath them, a little bit beneath them, a little bit beneath them, a giant gap, and then bringing up the caboose is Tennessee, so they don't have much of a shot there.
Yeah, and Illinois and Arizona look like the same team, except Arizona looks like the big league squad, and then Illinois is the lesser of that team, meaning they still play the same. They get after you on defense. It's stunning when Arizona turned up the wick. Last night, how good they were in the second half. I mean, because you're going to take the other team's best shot, especially when you're favored. But and Illinois the same way. I mean, Illinois just slowly but surely put away Iowa, and so that's too bad that those two teams had to play in that game, and the Big Ten couldn't have gotten possibly 4 teams into the Final Four. But it is what it is.
All right, so I'm trying to lead a protest here. Although we will be joined by Jacob Reimer at 11:30 and Bill Bender at 12:30, so we'll continue with the college basketball conversation.
And my buddy Dylan Davis at 1:30.
Dylan Davis at 1:30, that's correct. We'll be talking Buckeyes with us.
Yeah, a little bit, but I want to talk to him about something else.
Yeah.
Starts with a B, but go ahead.
Yeah, we'll get into that. That'll be at 1:30 in the third hour of the show. But I saw this week, and this was the thing that really caught my eye. So I believe, if I'm not mistaken, when the championship odds for this upcoming college football season, 2026, 2027, I believe Texas was number 1. And then Notre Dame jumped them very recently, but Notre Dame didn't hold the pole position for very long. So Ohio State, at least I saw it take place this week, maybe it was a couple weeks ago, but Ohio State is now your leader in the clubhouse to be the national champs. Obviously, with what we had last year, we had Ohio State as seemingly the runaway favorites in terms of the betting odds for the majority of the year up until the Big Ten championship game, and that obviously flipped things. But we are now at a time, and the odds, it's like 550. It's like plus 550 versus plus 700. I believe Notre Dame has slipped down a second. So I guess my odds are slipping away from me from my one chance at seeing Notre Dame win a championship, because for me, it's this year or nothing. For my entire life.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
I think I'm giving up if it doesn't work this year.
In.
Yep.
Yeah.
But Ohio State now back to the king of the club. And so Julian Sayin in year 2 as a starting quarterback, going to make some additions to the offensive line, going to make some additions to the defense, obviously, because you're losing a ton of talent. And we'll get a little bit more to the draft prospect that you have. But a lot of talent leaving this team. But this is exactly what we said last year. There was a lot of talent that left this Buckeye team in the draft, and I thought that was going to lead to a drop-off. Now, the schedule lines up a little bit differently. There's been much made about this Buckeye schedule and what that can mean.
Looks tough.
As of right now, Tim May, how does it land in your ears when I say the Buckeyes are expected to be national champions this year?
Well, number one, when you put the Buckeyes, third on that list when you were first, when it was first put out, right? This is all run. this is all swayed by people putting bets on futures. So,
For sure.
So a lot of Buckeye fans astutely got good odds there, or better odds there to go cash in one way or the other in terms of putting their money where their mouth is early, and so that sways the odds. Texas is your perpetual, oh my God, they're going to be so good. They're going to reinvent the game of football. So, no surprise to see them up there. And then, of course, Notre Dame. I'm not sure where I stand with this Notre Dame squad right now. It's going to be interesting. It was really funny, though, because I was standing next to a photographer at Pro Day who had been at the Notre Dame Pro Day the day before, and he said there were twice as many scouts and coaches, et cetera, the personnel at the Ohio State Pro Day as there were at Notre Dame. And Notre Dame had 8 or 9 guys running. My point is Ohio State's got a lot of talent. It just lost a lot of talent, but it has a lot of talent coming back and guys that are going to be rising and stuff. And I think people are getting up, grasping that. Number 2, you got to figure now with Arthur Smith running the offense. We'll get into this later and stuff, but
we'll get into that next segment.
But they're going to get the offensive line. The offensive line ended up being their Achilles against the right side of the offensive line, especially. That was it. Ended up being their Achilles against Indiana and Miami, and they only lost both those games were winnable. One touchdown changes everything in both of those games. So I could see where people would be swayed by the fact that Ohio State's going to make another run.
Yeah, and so the funny thing about it is that 3 of the other top 4, if you take Ohio State out of it, you obviously have Notre Dame would be in second place in the odds at plus 700. But the next 3, so Texas, Indiana, Oregon, all in a row, are your 3, 4, and 5 in the leaderboard for the best odds to win the national championship. All 3 of those on your schedule.
Yeah.
And so even though Ohio State is projected to be better than those 3, I believe they play 2 of them on the road. Texas is going to be on the road, and then Indiana is going to be on the road. You will catch Oregon at home.
Yep.
But then you have a tough road trip all the way out to
USC.
Yeah. You got USC out of the bye week. That's a tough stretch. At Indiana, bye week. At USC, home against Oregon. And so, and with the trip to Austin at the beginning of the year, and game number 2 after Ball State, even if you are the best team, that's really hard to just run the table against that.
Of course it is. I mean, Ohio State didn't run the table 2 years ago, obviously. And then they won the national championship. The tournament now, the college football playoff, is a lot of teams' salvation, meaning you can cleanse yourself of earlier sins, and if you can make a 3 or 4 game run. So we'll see when the thing finally goes to 16 teams how that works out. But you can theoretically win your conference, and well, not even that anymore. You, like Ohio State last year, you can get a first round bye. So the bottom line is everybody understands what the schedule is. If Ohio State goes like 11-1 in the regular season, they're going to be highly ranked. They're going to be very much in the running for a bye, no matter what happens in a Big Ten championship game, whether they're in it or not. And so it sets up pretty well for them, I think. Ryan Day's the first to tell you how not a killer schedule, but it's definitely a tough schedule, but it's a schedule that will get you points with the judges.
You mentioned the new OC. He spoke this week, so let's hear what he had to say. We'll listen to that next. Stick around, 97.1.
If you consider yourself a Buckeye fan, you've come to the right place. This is your heritage sports talker and home of Ohio State Athletics, The Fan, Ohio's sports destination.
It's Common Man and Timmy for our friends at Hollywood Casino.
Oh, it's a big month, Common Man.
Why?
Because there's lots of basketball to watch and lots of cash to win.
That's right. If you're watching hoops, you can reserve your spot at HollywoodColumbus.com. And some of the packages come with $300 in dining credits.
And this month you could win $1 million instantly. That's your final answer. Plus, there's multiple ways to score big cash prizes weekly.
Must be 21 or older. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-589-9966.
Hey, basketball.
Bacon, sausage, egg, cheese, made from scratch biscuits, fresh baked croissants, cinnamon swirl French toast. Hungry? Grab a hot UDF breakfast sandwich made in store for your morning. UDF, mornings made for you.
Your child's oral health milestones matter. By age 1, see a pediatric dentist to establish good oral health habits. At 7, see an orthodontist to check your child's bite, teeth, and jaws. Around 15, visit an oral and maxillofacial surgeon to have your child's wisdom teeth examined. Remember, milestones met, healthy teeth set. Visit milestonesmet.org.
When you've thrown over 4,000 innings like I have, you know joint pain isn't a maybe, it's a guarantee. For you, was it climbing ladders or too much heavy lifting? Hey, we're all in the same boat. But surgery, that was never my answer.
Baseball legend Roger Clemens knows there's a better way. That's QC Kinetics regenerative treatments that help your body heal itself. No scalpels, no fake fixes, just real relief.
What I love about QC Kinetics, these are the most respected medical pros in the country that specialize in non-surgical therapies to get you moving again.
Don't mask the pain, fix it. Call QC Kinetics now for a free consultation.
I trusted QC Kinetics. You should too.
Call QC Kinetics today and schedule your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
What can ADP do for small business? We help answer the business questions, like how do you track employee time? How do you do payroll taxes? Or what does compliance even mean? So small businesses can focus on bigger questions. Now florists can ask, can we invent another holiday to sell bouquets? Pizza shops can ask, how do we stuff a calzone into a pizza crust? And pool cleaners can ask, what is that thing in the filter? These are the questions you can focus on when ADP takes care of the business of your small business. ADP for small business.
Get Eco.
ECO. When your drain is clogged, our drain team will clear it for just $93. If we can't clear it, it's free. And we guarantee it will stay clear for at least a year, or we'll clear it again for free.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Go to geteco.com.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Get your day started with T-Bone and Tybus weekday mornings from 6 to 9 here on The Fan. You think that a radio lifer and a national title winner wouldn't have much in common, but you'd be wrong. They're both girthy, they both love football, and they both get racially profiled for completely different reasons. It's like driving to work with your friends, except these friends give away tickets to things and talk to all the important people in town. Your actual friends are probably a bunch of losers. Well, anyway, listen to T-Bone and Tybus live on The Fan app, and wherever you get your podcasts. Bishop and Friends.
I just pop it in the toast. Yeah, it's in the name. It says it right on there. That's what it's for.
In case there was any confusion, Bo.
Bishop and Friends, sponsored by Diamond Seller.
Weekdays from 9 to noon on The Fan.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co. It's well known. High Bank is my go-to when I want an award-winning whiskey, but did you also know that they make the best vodka in America? They have 3 incredible spots here in Central Ohio where the food is just as good as what's in the glass. They've got something for everyone. And get this, kids eat half off every Monday. So whether you're sipping on the best vodka in America or simply grabbing a meal with family and friends, High Bank delivers every time. Find a location and a menu at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If I said 0% interest for 60 months, you're probably saying, I don't even know what it is I have to buy. How do I get 0% interest? No one has that these days. Well, good news. Window Nation. You can count on them making your home more comfortable with their energy-efficient windows. They've got expert installers that'll put those windows in a day, and they're backed by a lifetime warranty. But here's the deal. In March, the more you buy, the more you could save with Window Nation. Up to 50% off all window styles. And yes, 0% interest for 60 months. Find out more. WindowNation.com.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see partly to most cloudy skies here for today as high temperatures reach the lower 60s for this afternoon. Heading into tomorrow, we're tracking even warmer temperatures with highs back in the lower 70s and then all the way to the upper 70s here on Tuesday. However, it will be quite windy as we go through your Tuesday. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Aaron White here on 97.1 The Fan.
Matty Ice is currently bathing himself in creamy jalapeno dip. And I've officially run out of ways to tease this show. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays at noon.
The Fan. We firmly believe it's appropriate to tailgate before a youth soccer game. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
Okay, so I just learned that Tim May's a pilot.
No, I was a pilot a long time ago when I was a teenager. That's probably the worst time to be a pilot.
I was about to say, how old do you have to be to get your flying license?
Well, back then, you could
16 to drive. It's got to be way more than that. But you said that you soloed a plane at 16.
Oh, my 16th birthday. That was my big deal. Down in matter of fact, my first solo flight was in Lufkin, Texas. That's why I like Brad Underwood. He knows where Lufkin, Texas is. You know why? Because he was the head coach at SFA for a while in Nacogdoches, which is like about 19 miles north of Lufkin. So he probably hung out in Lufkin a little bit, but I digress. But yeah, that was a long time ago. We were talking about the LaGuardia incident, ladies and gentlemen. I was just, you marveled today, man. There's a lot of stuff going on in aviation that shouldn't be happening, and it's starting to bother me a little bit. Starting from maintenance right on down to some of the air traffic control not screw ups, but I mean, we were talking about on radio, on those radios, when you're making a call to somebody, like to the fire truck and into the airplane, but the fire truck and the airplane should be on different frequencies, but you can get stepped on from a transmission. Yeah. You know what I mean? When you're calling somebody and somebody else is using the same frequency, that was just a major cluster that all came together for that tragic accident.
Right. But I was watching the video, and I should probably watch the video again, but, well, probably shouldn't.
The plane had no alternative. I mean, flying speed was not going to hop over it.
You can't just hit the brakes on a plane, though. And just
you hit the brakes, but you definitely can hit the brakes on a fire truck.
Yeah, more likely.
That fire truck's probably loaded with water because they have to take their own stuff with them out to the runway. But it's fully loaded too. It's not going to stop immediately. It's like a heavy race car or something. But yeah, I was you're kidding me. That really just happened.
Right.
It's hard to believe.
Obtaining a PPL, as it's known in the industry, a private pilot license in the U.S. requires being at least 17.
Now.
Passing a medical exam, completing ground school, and logging at least 40 hours of flight time.
Yeah.
So I guess you have to have your 40 hours of flight time before you turn 17.
Yeah, no, I got it's called a student pilot license. You get a student pilot license. Heck, you can fly in a experimental plane or whatever you want to do. There are all kinds of ways you can fly an airplane. But back then, I started taking flying lessons like a month and a half, 2 months earlier when I was 15 years old. My dad would take me to the airport, and then on my 16th birthday, I soloed in a Cessna 150.
There you go. And student pilots could solo at 16.
Yeah. And then I, kept going. I had a couple of incidents which scared the heck out of me that weren't of my making. Well, no, one was of my making, but the other wasn't. And the one that wasn't of my making was in the air. And so I stepped away for a while, and then I kind of ran out of money. But I've told that saga before on here. But the bottom line is there's nothing that I've experienced in life than that first solo flight when your instructor gets out of the plane, says, "Tim, I want to see you make 3 good landings. This is your day." And I'm going, okay. I expected it, but still, when you turn on final from base leg to final on your first solo landing, and you suddenly realize the only way this plane is going to land is if you land it, because on a Cessna 150, that's about as raw bones as it gets. Yeah, things start, the hair on the back of your neck stands up, and I saw my dad's car, his old 56 Studebaker, parked at the end of at a road that went by the end of the runway there, because the guy had called him and said, "I think Tim's going to solo today." And the thing is, you come in, you make a landing, and the guy waves you, and you go around, you make 2 more, and then you feel pretty good about yourself when you get out of the airplane. And so, yeah, if anybody wants a thrill, I would say do that. Matter of fact, the term life insurance policy I got a few years ago stipulated that you could not be the pilot of your own airplane. That was one of the things you couldn't do to keep this policy in force.
Well, things must have been different in Lufkin, Texas in the 70s than they were in my childhood. I don't know.
I had a good buddy of mine. We flew formation down to North Padre Island one time on a cross-country flight. We had a good time.
I don't know. Wait, just you and your buddy just hopped in a plane and?
Well, he was taking lessons too. His name was George Walker, and we decided not to tell the the flight academy, but he took off
now.
He took off, and then I took off, and then we caught up with you. We were doing the Blue Angels. We weren't within 2 feet of each other, but we flew down there, had a picnic at a basically a semi-abandoned airport, and then came back.
Okay, so when you say you ran out of money, you mean for fuel?
Yeah. The thing is, back then it was so cheap, but not really. Everything's relative.
Yeah,
what things cost, but
because people had less money back then, so things being cheaper is relative.
I ran a little bit of inclination. I got flipped upside down for no. Well, I knew what it was. I had flown because I was flying VFR, visual flight regulations and flight rules, and I got basically probably too close to a building thunderstorm, because in East Texas you can get storms that pop up like Miami, Florida in the afternoon, and all of a sudden I was upside down. I flipped over upside down, and I had the wherewithal to just complete the loop. I went down.
Well, that's the only way to do it.
Going backwards, then I turned around, got back on course for Lufkin, and I'm sitting here thinking, man, what? That was a Chuck Yeager moment. What a pilot you are. And then 10 minutes later,
you were tired.
No, 10 minutes later, I started shaking uncontrollably.
No kidding.
Because finally, whatever it is in your brain that tells you, fool, you almost died there.
Yeah, that what-if scenario, you start to go over, man, that could have gone another way.
For a while there, I didn't think I was going to be able to land my plane, kind of like Cougar in Top Gun. But I finally managed to land, and I didn't fly again for like a couple of months, and then kind of tapered off after that. I mean, because there are all kinds of things that can get you.
But what I'm saying is that I don't know anybody in my childhood, let alone their parents. Their parents wouldn't allow it, but I didn't know anybody who was in high school just aspiring to, like, hey, I got flying lessons after class today.
One of the coolest things I ever did was buzz my girlfriend at the time, buzz her house a few times, and finally her dad told her to tell Tim to quit doing that.
Oh, well, I mean, that's how you'll stop.
Well, that's,
take that away.
Dude, I aspired to be a pilot from the time I was 5 years old, and because I still love aviation, keep up with every facet of it. I mean, my favorite airplane, that's what Matt Patricia and I have in common. His favorite plane in the military, mine is too, is the A-10 Warthog, which was an airplane built around a gun, a Gatling gun. It's used about 4,000 rounds per minute, 30 millimeter, I think, and they've tried to mothball it about 4 or 5 times, and they're even using it again now in Iran, because it's a perfect weapon for ground support and things like that, and or maybe figuring out how you can open the Strait of Hormuz. But that's where one of the reasons I like Matt Patricia is first time I heard him say that, because I heard him lecturing to this aviation class that were building some type of airplane out in Ohio State. He lectured them or went and talked with them last year, and I'm just sitting there going, me and this guy, man, I'm going to like this guy a lot. And
it turns out he's a hell of a defensive coordinator.
But he wanted to be an aeronautical engineer, I think, at one point in his life, and a pilot. But
that's how a lot of football guys are.
Things get sidetracked. I know. I just I'm glad I did what I did, and I may go out and try to land an airplane by myself a few more times, or at least with a certified flight instructor, because I really enjoy everything about aviation except for what's going on right now, because maintenance is kind of going down the tubes, and it's just too many close calls going on out there.
But that had to make you that's such a flex with the women being like, hey, I can take you wherever you want to go.
Yeah, it was pretty cool.
Yeah, man, like you have something in your arsenal that no other guy except for apparently George Walker had.
Yeah, no, there were Yeah, he and I were the only two guys I knew in high school that were both flying on the weekends, sometimes in weekdays. But during that time, I also got to fly the Goodyear blimp once, because I became a sports editor of the Lufkin News, and with that, you got to go do different, sometimes news stories and stuff. And the Goodyear blimp America came and was stationed in Lufkin for a couple of days. There were what was going on, and they offered rides to the media and other VIPs, and I went out there, and this was the old Goodyear blimp America, kind of like the ones you saw in, what was it, Black Sunday, the movie, with Bruce Dern and all those guys. But I got to sit in the pilot seat and steer around a little bit, and think about the thing about the Goodyear blimp, it still is, you go to turn it, and then it turns about 5-6 seconds later because it's so big and stuff. We were chasing deer through the woods. But, yeah, that was as fun as flying in a T-28 trainer that came to town one time for the Navy, and the guy took us out, and we did. I told him I had some flying experience. They were recruiting, and I got to do a couple of loops and a couple of wing overs and things like that. It was pretty sweet.
All right, my protest of college basketball is going to take a brief pause. Jacob Reimer joins us in 2 minutes. Stick around, 97.1.
Sex, intimacy, love. These three things are critical to a good relationship, and that's the problem with erectile dysfunction. It often destroys sexual enjoyment and intimacy. It stresses the love between partners, often to the breaking point. This is Jeff for Tri-State Men's Health, and if you're suffering with ED, you likely know exactly what I'm talking about. But I also want you to know that ED doesn't have to impact your relationship anymore. At Tri-State Men's Health, we're ED experts, with our focus on men's sexual health. We've treated tens of thousands of men and have treatments that are effective in well over 90% of cases. I promise you, if you're like most guys, you can get your sex life back, perhaps even performing like you haven't in years. So if ED is affecting you, it's time to get back to better sex, better intimacy, and deeper love. Call us. Just $99 gets you blood work, a medical consult, and if medically advised, a test dose. And if that test dose doesn't work in the office, your visit is free. Call 800-900-9654 or go to tristatemenshealth.com.
Need a roof you can count on? Ramos Roofing has protected homes and businesses throughout Ohio for almost 20 years. Whether it's a leaky roof, storm damage, new siding, or new gutters to protect your foundation, Ramos Roofing delivers quality materials, professional installation, and honest service every time. Get your free roof or exterior assessment today and ask about Ramos Roofing's no-interest financing options. Call 614-761-7663 or visit online at ramosroofingohio.com.
Hi, Dave.
Your people were at my house yesterday.
Are you happy they came?
I never realized how much that junk was bothering me until it was gone.
We love to give people that clean, happy feeling, Dave. Thanks for calling.
I feel great. Can I say one more thing?
Sure.
When your wonderful people were about to drive away, I looked at my wife and said, that was love with its sleeves rolled up.
Did your wife agree?
Absolutely.
Dave, you made my day.
We make junk disappear.
All you have to do is point.
Call 1-800-GOT-JUNK
or visit 1-800-GOT-JUNK.com.
Bobby Carpenter demands that you watch Morning Juice on YouTube. If you don't, Tito will move into your house.
Live at 6 a.m. on YouTube and streaming on the Fan app.
Garnish your Bloody Mary with sports talk. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
All right, the protest takes a hiatus as the authority of college basketball joins the show again.
Yes.
He gave us 2 segments last week. We're only holding them for one today.
Rhyme time, baby. It's rhyme time.
Jacob Reimer joins the show. Rhyme time. Where are you in the metro?
Well, I'm on my way back home. Well, first of all, happy Sunday, happy Elite Eight Sunday to you fellas. But we are on our way back home to get settled in for the afternoon games. We were checking out some baseball. It's a little cold out there right now, but my cousin was in action today. My 12-year-old cousin. He had a nice double today, so shout out to him.
Excellent.
But we were checking out some baseball. Nora was getting a little cold, so we're like, yeah, let's get home and let's get settled in for the games.
Nice, a whole family affair there. All right, let's start here. Does Illinois actually have a real shot to win it all?
I think they absolutely do if they're defending the way that they were against Iowa, because to win that game, I felt like Iowa played the best 30 minutes that they could. And then Illinois turned it on then at the end and gave that final push. And it was a game that was setting up Iowa's way, where they were slowing it down, defending well. They were just never going away. And I wasn't concerned. I was concerned on how Illinois would respond to that, because they are elite. They're an elite offense. They're top 2 in offensive efficiency in the country, and they just win games that way. But how are they going to win in a gritty, physical game? And they showed that yesterday. And you're going to get that against either Duke or UConn in the Final Four, and then if you somehow win that game, you're going to get that against Arizona or whoever comes out of the Midwest, because those are some of the most physical teams in all of college basketball. So I think it gives them a lot of confidence going into this next weekend in Indy that they definitely can win it.
Yeah, I likened them, Reimer. I likened them to a lesser version of Arizona in my mind, because they kind of play with you, and then they run you through the spaghetti maker. You know what I mean? From a defensive standpoint, the second half. I mean, it was the way Illinois, just the way it won its last two games. It was like, you're not going to score more than 55 or 60 points. Deal with it, and we're going to score a few more. But that's a methodical way of playing basketball. But they just turn the tourniquet more and more as the second half goes on. I've been impressed. I mean, but what was your take on Arizona? I mean, Arizona kind of did the same thing last night.
Well, and to your point, Tim, about Illinois, like, they're the biggest team in the country.
Yes.
Like, that's how they're so good at rebounding, and they have great balance in their offense, and that's an area where they have an advantage on some of these teams. But for Arizona, I felt like it was really good to see them get tested like that in the first half against Purdue. Like, Purdue was the aggressor. They were the more physical team. They came out with their hair on fire.
Took their shot.
You knew those seniors, Braden Smith, Fletcher Lawyer, Cherkoff, and Wren, like, they weren't going to go down easy like that. And the way Braden Smith came out, I was like, okay, we could have a ball game here. And it was the most points that Arizona had trailed at halftime all year.
Yep.
And to see their response in the second half, I thought it was coming, just because of how they're built and how deep they are. Like, they weren't going to go away easy either. And to see that happen to them in the Elite Eight, I feel like that's great, because you're going to get a similar style if you go up against a Michigan team or even a Tennessee, who's the best offensive rebounding team in the country.
Yeah, I agree. For watching them, it's kind of like watching the waves come ashore at the ocean. You kind of survive. You bob up and down on the first several, but then they just keep coming. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you go, what am I doing? I'm treading water in the wrong place here. But do you see it going chalk today? I mean, what's your take on that? Because I still say UConn, man, is that snake in the grass. I called them that the other day. That could really kind of flip this one a little bit. What's your take?
Well, the thing with UConn is everybody was worried about them after they had some of those bad losses in the Big East.
Right.
And the Big East was not great this year, which it definitely can leave some concern there. But their non-conference is what their roster and everything is more set up for March. And that's what their non-conference was. They beefed it up. They played some really good teams. They beat Florida in the Garden. They lost to Arizona at home without Terrace Reed, and he's been an absolute monster this NCAA tournament. And I felt like the biggest thing for them against Michigan State was how he was going to play.
Yeah.
With Jackson Kohler and Carson Cooper for Michigan State down low, and he had 20 points, 5 rebounds. Like, he was phenomenal. If you're going to be able to get that from him today against Duke, and I mean, Cam Boozer started out slow. They're still not the healthiest. Like, if what UConn has that St. John's didn't have against Duke, they have shot making. They've got Braylon Mullins and Solo Ball and Alex Caravan that can hit shots from deep. And that's where St. John's went away in the second half against Duke, was their shooting then eventually ended up being what killed them.
Right.
And so that's what's going to be, if UConn is hitting shots, that's how they're going to be able to pick off Duke. I like their chances too. I think it'll be a good test for Michigan against Tennessee for sure, because the size is there to bang with Michigan's bigs. And like I just said, Tennessee's the best offensive rebounding team in the country. So it'll be a nice test for Michigan too.
Yeah, I was surprised to see that Tennessee beat Iowa State, especially as handily as they did in the second half. Were you as shocked about that, especially right on the heels of Tennessee upsetting Virginia as well?
I felt coming into it all came down to the Joshua Jefferson status for Iowa State, their All-American big man. And I felt like it was going to play a big factor. I still liked Iowa State to win, but I didn't know it would be that bad of an outcome. So yeah, I was shocked by it, but that's just what Tennessee's been doing. It's crazy that the teams that they've had with Dalton Knecht and Chaz Lanier the last 2 years getting to the Elite Eight, not being able to get to the Final Four with likely their best chances. Now here they are again for a third straight year with an opportunity to go to the Final Four. It would be the most March thing if this is the team that Rick Barnes can get to the Final Four.
Yeah, that's crazy when you think about it. But, like you said, the Joshua Jefferson thing, you can get maybe 2 or 3 wins, in a tournament without your best guy. But, it finally comes down to the nitty-gritty. Everybody talks about guards getting you there, but the bigger guys are what keep you there and win games. I mean, you understand what I'm saying? Just timing. Imagine being Iowa State.
Them too.
Yeah.
He was like a point forward for them, too. Like, he could just grab the rebound and go and set up everybody else. Like, he impacted how they go.
He was their magic.
A lot.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, like, they didn't have the shot making. The spacing wasn't there. It was a weapon that you had to take away that you didn't have to worry about for Tennessee. And they could key in on stopping Milan Momcilovic from letting him go crazy. And that's exactly what happened.
All right, Reimer, get ready for your doubleheader starting at 2:15 today, all right?
Hey, thank you guys for having me on. Enjoy the games today. I think they're going to be classics, especially Duke and UConn. That game's going to be a lot of fun with Shire and Hurley. I'm anxious to see what his response is to that Duke whistle today. So we'll see.
Yeah, we mentioned those tweets earlier. Take care, man. All right, there goes Jacob Reimer. 2:15, that is when you can check out Channel 10. They'll have Michigan and Tennessee, and then following that is when it'll be Duke and UConn. That one currently scheduled for 5:05, but we all know that this stuff operates on TV time. So it's 5:05 TBD after that. We'll pay off in the Arthur Smith tease and talk about what he had to say this week. Next, stick around. Fan Sports Sunday 97.1.
We have so many local shows, I can't fit them in a 10-second promo. So let's just say we're live and local all damn day. The Fan.
At Great Lakes Hyundai, the savings are so good.
Take your shot to save at Great Lakes Hyundai. Shoot the hoop to get extra savings on your new car purchase. On top of big shot savings like 0% financing on 26 Hyundai Santa Fe's and Tucson's for up to 5 years. Plus, make no payments for 90 days. It's the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Dublin or Columbus or glakeshyundai.com. With Pro Credit, some customers may not qualify. Interest accrues during no payment period. New Hyundais come equipped with owner assurance and America's Best warranty. A 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. Offer ends 3/31.
Common Man here for Jermaine. Everybody's talking about affordability when buying a car these days, but the truth is, GoJermaine.com has a great selection of affordable inventory. Maybe that tax return's going to hit your mailbox pretty soon. Well, go see my friends because they have 300 new cars under 30 grand, over 300 used cars under 20 grand, and it's only at GoJermaine.com. And along with their $1,000 price promise, no one's going to sell you a car for less. Get started at GoJermaine.com.
Why choose between getting things done and doing things with the ones you love? With Kroger same-day pickup and delivery, it's easy to shop the same great prices and quality you'd find in store. We'll bring your groceries right to you in our refrigerated trucks so you can spend time on what matters most. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
And now you can enjoy free delivery on orders of $50 or more with your digital coupon. Place your order today. Restrictions apply. See coupon for details. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, Max, you look absolutely dashing in that purple tie. Ready to harness the world?
You bet, Daisy. I'm ready as I'll ever be. And might I say, your purple tie really pops with your vest.
Thanks. I almost went with a cape, but didn't want to come across as pretentious.
Nonsense. Anyone in our line of work should rock a cape.
You might be onto something, Max.
Phew, so here we go. First day on the job. We've got this, right?
Right. Don't forget, we both graduated from Dogs Inc. with honors.
Which means I can guide my human around a busy city with ease.
And I can give my human a restful night.
I hope my human is kind and loving.
And I hope mine likes wet kisses and zoomies.
Ready to make a difference?
Born ready. Let's go.
Discover how extraordinary dogs like Daisy and Max change lives at no cost to the recipients. Visit dogsinc.org.
I thought mixing bleach with my floor cleaner would take the stain out.
When my youngest ate the dog's medicine, that was a new one.
I was trying to protect my garden, but I accidentally sprayed myself with pesticide.
So I called 1-800-222-1222, the poison helpline.
A poison expert helped me figure out what to do next.
I was connected to someone who spoke Spanish.
They answered my questions.
It was free.
It was confidential.
It was real help in real time.
Keep the poison experts in your pocket. 1-800-222-1222.
Columbus has a new football team, the Aviators. UFL football lands April 3rd. Be there for our home opener at historic Crew Stadium. Don't miss it. Get your tickets now at UFLaviators.com. That's UFLaviators.com. United, we fly.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Spring is right around the corner, and we bet you're excited for warmer weather. But as the temperatures rise, make sure your energy bills don't. Keep those cooling costs low with Window Nation's high-quality, energy-efficient products. Simply request a consultation where their experts will visit your home, spot problem areas, and make recommendations. Your customized windows can be installed in a day. Once completed, your home will be shielded from outside hot air while you remain cool and comfortable inside throughout the spring and summer. With Window Nation, your house won't just look great, but you'll also have peace of mind. All of Window Nation's products are backed by a lifetime warranty. In fact, there's no better time to upgrade your home with Window Nation than right now. In March, the more you buy, the more savings you could enjoy, up to 50% off all window styles. And be sure to ask about Window Nation's generous financing options, including $0 down, 0% interest for 60 months, and payments as little as $199 a month. Visit windownation.com today to schedule your free consultation. Once again, that's windownation.com.
The Jackets are back at Nationwide for a battle with the Hurricanes. Live fan coverage starts Sunday at 4:30.
Sponsored by Atlas Butler Heating and Cooling.
Proud to be your flagship home of the Columbus Blue Jackets, The Fan.
Thanks to your support, the nonprofits VetTix and First Tix have given away tens of millions of tickets and counting to vets currently serving military, the immediate family of troops killed in action, and our brave current and former first responders. These tickets are a meaningful way to say thank you to America's heroes. And now we want you to be part of the mission. Got extra tickets to concerts, games, or special events? Or want to see if you qualify? We want you to go to vettix.org and firsttix.org today. Give something to those who gave.
Disasters strike, fires, hurricanes, earthquakes. Direct Relief delivers. No politics, no red tape. Direct Relief is a lifeline to people in crisis. So check them out at directrelief.org. And if you can, donate.
All your favorite fan shows are available when you want them.
Head to 971thefan.com and hit that subscribe button.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Live, local, and still slightly drunk.
I'm not drunk, all right? I just have a speech impediment.
This is Fan Sports Sunday.
Tim May now has me reading about the Elliot Spitzer prostitution scandal.
Don't tell him why. Don't tell him why.
Hey, that thing only has 98,000 views on YouTube.
That's pretty funny because
for as good of a bit as it was. Oh, yeah. Nope, just kidding. It's got 250K.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's a good bit.
Yeah.
All right. So we teased earlier in the show before we got sidetracked with aviation mishaps. We were talking about how you got a new OC and he spoke this week. Here is Arthur Smith simply explaining why did he come to Ohio State.
You know, the respect I have for Coach Day when he reached out and we had a good conversation and came down here and spent some time with him and just kind of weighed my options. And I'd had such a good experience with some of the players that have come through here that I've gotten the privilege to coach. So I was intrigued, kind of weighed my options and talked to a lot of people, including Mike Vrabel, who's a great Buckeye, who's a great friend of mine, and it just made sense.
This is interesting because Arthur Smith did do a head coach interview in the NFL. And so what it signals to me when he says weighs my options.
Yeah.
First of all, I got to assume that he wasn't getting hired for that, obviously. I also got to assume that he didn't feel that he had an NFL OC job lined up. So that's just how I read it, because I would assume that anybody who had equal jobs at different levels would choose the NFL. And no shame in the game. But I think that this is going to work out solely because Ryan Day so far has hit 2 grand slams with his 2 NFL coordinators that he's brought down with him. I count Chip Kelly just because he had the NFL experience, although he wasn't necessarily a direct NFL coordinator when he came because he came from UCLA.
He had been a head coach. He had been a head coach in the NFL.
Because he came from UCLA, but did have the NFL experience at a very, very, very high level. Chip Kelly was a slam dunk. And Matt Patricia is actively a slam dunk as he is now carrying over from last year to this year.
Yes.
So based on those pretenses, I think that Arthur Smith is a tremendous hire just solely based on that.
Well, I texted Ryan, as soon as it was obvious Arthur Smith was going to be the guy, and I said, this is another home run hire, man. It's big time. Because how
long did he take to respond?
He responded right away. He was excited, and I don't think they hadn't made it public yet, but the bottom line was, Arthur, just sit and talk with Arthur Smith, got tongue tied there. He's extremely calm kind of guy. His dad was the FedEx dude, Fred Smith, and he could have gone a lot of ways with his personal career life. but he loves football and has played it since a young age. And, but the bottom line is he's coached for a long time. He's only, 43 years old. And
really,
his experience,
he's accomplished a lot.
His experience track, is crazy, and including being a head coach for a couple of years with the Atlanta Falcons. And a lot of things have to go right for you for you to be successful as a head coach in the National Football League. Ask Nick Saban. Ask anybody. Ask ask Matt Patricia. Ask Bill Belichick, who was fired by the Browns on his first job, just when I thought they were getting their act together, But the bottom line is a lot of things have to go right, but that doesn't mean you don't know football at an extremely high level. And then number two, when you've been a head coach, this kind of came through a little bit. Matt Patricia has talked about this before too. You understand what the head coach is going through, for whom you're working, and that's as vital as bringing up a guy to be an offensive coordinator is a guy who's in that position, understanding what you're dealing with on a day-to-day basis, meaning Ryan Day, with all the stuff on his plate, which NIL, transfer portal, appearances, all kinds of things that a head coach has to deal with in modern college football that, like a Woody Hayes, had no idea he would have eventually might have to have dealt with. So having two guys who've been head coaches who know how to organize, who know how to ask the right questions, who know how to make demands without possibly being ogres about it, but they know how to build camaraderie, because that's key. That alignment process you go through as coaches. But I like this guy a lot. I mean, and of course there are going to be critics are going to come out of the woodwork. For example, with Matt Patricia, with it didn't go well at all with him as the Detroit Lions head coach.
Right.
And one of the reasons why you saw so much criticism of him was the way he handled the media, when he kind of lectured the media a couple of times, or, basically told them, hey, you're in a professional job here and you're showing up for work looking like that kind of thing.
Gotcha.
I mean, which, by the way, I totally agree with him on stuff like that. I mean, but that's a podcast for another day, or show for another day. But the bottom line is
over 2 hours.
Well, yeah, I mean,
as much time as you want.
Dress appropriately, though. I mean, you're that's your job. Dress like you would work if you were working not in an office necessarily, but I won't get into that because it'll make some people mad.
Well, you're currently talking to somebody who's wearing a hoodie and sweats,
right?
So I don't know.
But you're not wearing flip flops and stuff like that. I don't know. But anyway, that's just neither here nor there.
Are you saying people said that about Patricia, or Patricia said that about the media?
Patricia had some comments, in press conferences about things. I don't remember the specifics, but the media ended up not liking him.
Gotcha.
At all. And of course, the Michigan, that's Detroit, they came down on him when Ohio State hired him. But the bottom line is, did he turn out to be okay? I'm asking you.
And I'm answering yes.
Yeah, exactly. Because the guy's ahead of the game. He knows what's going on. He knows to be different this week than you were last week. He knows not to be predictable if you can help it. Arthur Smith, same way. When Arthur Smith gets hired here, he's going, well, what does he know about the passing game? When he was with Tennessee, all he did was run the ball with Derrick Henry. And I went, duh.
You answered your own question.
Number one, he wasn't the head coach at Tennessee. Mike Vrabel was, and but number two, but can he put together plans for a big time passing game? Yes. I mean, he and Aaron Rodgers worked together last year at Pittsburgh. It was not a major hit, but they did make the playoffs, if I'm not mistaken.
They did,
et cetera. And so this guy brings you a world of experience with a young resume. And so I like him a lot. But here's the one reason Ryan brought him in, though, was to get the running game back in gear. The running game fell off last year for all kinds of reasons. Number one, you lose those two running backs, but the offensive line did not get to where it needed to get to at the end of the year, as opposed to the previous year when they replaced those guys. They had 7 different or 8 different starting lineups on the offensive line, but boy, did the offensive line get its act together in the playoffs. It was the best offensive line in the country in the playoffs. So there's a way you've got to get the running game going. Everybody can see that. And but Arthur Smith is not going to forget about the passing game. He's got Julian Sayin, a Heisman finalist, and Jeremiah Smith, maybe the best offensive player in college football, pound for pound going for you. And you got a couple of running backs coming back. They're not available in the spring right now for scrimmaging and stuff. But with Bo Jackson and Isaiah West, I mean, they're going to the idea is to get that running game going again on a consistent basis. And against the schedule they're going against this year, you're going to need it because there are going to be fourth quarters that need to be won or lost by gaining a yard.
Well, how about just this, too? If you're a coordinator at Ohio State, you are put in position to be successful much more than you are to be the head coach in the NFL level, especially with the Detroit Lions, where Matt Patricia went last in the NFC North, and then got fired midway through year number 3. But you just have better players than your competition. I get it. And credit to Dan Campbell for figuring out what many coaches couldn't figure out in Detroit. But I don't think failing as the head coach of the Detroit Lions is necessarily an indicator of how good of a defensive coach you are, as is being evidenced currently.
Correct.
And
Bill Belichick is a great example.
Yeah, and we could also take Arthur Smith. I don't think many people here in Columbus, Ohio, would wax poetic about the years of Ryan Tannehill's NFL career.
Right.
Well, that was the quarterback who Arthur Smith had, and so
but he didn't pick him.
Running guy, yeah. And then in Atlanta, Kirk Cousins was his quarterback. I think there was like a sprinkle of Desmond Ridder in there maybe at some point. But
I don't think. Was Cousins his quarterback? I can't remember.
But I think there was some overlap.
Maybe not.
For a year.
Anyway, but it doesn't matter. But go ahead. Go ahead with your soliloquy.
But my whole point is that being a coordinator on whichever side of the ball at Ohio State, you are just flat out going to have better players than your opponent in almost every single game that you play.
But that doesn't, dude. Indiana won the national championship last year.
True.
They had a great player at quarterback who nobody wanted coming out of high school, who developed, went to Cal, became a pretty good quarterback, and then Kurt Cignetti saw what he wanted in a quarterback and went and got him for last year. As I said, that was an upgrade for them at quarterback compared to the year before, and that's not knocking the kid the year before. But, man, they might go places because what he did was he put together a team. And the whole idea is like we're talking about right now. Everybody in the NFL is capable. NFL teams are basically all-star teams.
Yeah.
From college football.
They are.
Every one of them are. And now how do you put the pieces together and make them work? And I think, Arthur Smith is very, very keen on taking what he's got and making the most of whatever the strength is of what he's got. And like I said, he's not going to forget. Dude, there were pro scouts and coaches there on Wednesday at Ohio State who were gaga, goo-gaing, or whatever you want to call it, over Julian Sayin and the way the ball comes out of his hand and how accurate you understand?
Yeah.
He's back for Ohio State this coming season. But he was throwing the ball to Carnell Tate and those other Brandon Ennis ran some routes for him too. But the bottom line is he understands he's got it covered, just like Matt Patricia. You look back on last year's defense, you go, wow. Well, dude, they replaced, I think, 7 or 8 starters last year.
For sure.
But the bottom line is he was able to come in and put this sprinkle dust on them, this new stuff, and just change a few things. And they were the best defense in the country most of the season. I think no matter who you're playing, you still gotta get the job done. And
I'm just saying that's why Buckeye fans shouldn't be scared off.
Yeah, but Arthur Smith has a capability of being that same guy on the offensive side. And because you got the lion's share of your offensive line back. They got to figure out right guard, what they're going to do there one way or the other, shift guys around. We won't know that. Maybe we might not even know that by the day of the spring game. But there are going to be some experimenting going on there as the spring evolves and then going into the preseason camp. But, yeah, there are all kinds of reasons why I like Arthur Smith. One of them is I think he's really smart.
Does one Buckeye have unrealistic expectations thrown upon him? I'm going to ask Tim next. We'll talk to you at noon. Stick around, 97.1.
Catch T-Bone and Tyvis weekday mornings from 6 to 9. If you're not completely satisfied, we'll rewind time and erase your brain. For real, the Fan.
Your mornings are jam-packed. So if you're going to add anything, make it your favorite bite from Tim Hortons. Buy any size beverage and add a daily baked donut for $1, a tasty bagel for $2, or a freshly cracked hot breakfast sandwich for just $3. It's the best way to add more to your morning. The 1-2-3 menu, only at your neighborhood Tim Hortons. At participating U.S. restaurants, must ask for offer in restaurant. Tax extra exclusions and terms apply at timhortons.com/offer-terms.
The Reds are on the radio.
And he caught it! No way! What a grab! Noel
Santa Cruz is on his horse, and they're waving him to the house.
Suarez swings. He drives this. It is gone. Eugenio Suarez puts the Reds on top.
The quest for October baseball is underway. Hear all the action all season long on your home of the Reds.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron?
Yeah, Jerry?
Something is wrong.
Something's wrong?
Yeah, it's definitely something.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Thumping and bumping and jumping.
What is?
But it's not pumping.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry?
Yeah, Aaron.
Are we talking about your sump pump?
Yeah. Isn't it great?
Isn't what great?
I like the sound of it. Sump pump. Sump pump, sump pump, sump pump.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry, can you keep a secret?
Aaron, I'm as silent as a bank vault in Switzerland.
I kind of like to say it too.
Hey, I should invent a sump pump that lets you know when it's working.
How would it do that?
It would say, sump pump, sump pump, sump pump.
That's a great idea, Jerry, but a sump pump should be exactly like you.
How so?
As silent as a bank vault in Switzerland.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
When I started in the window business probably 40 years ago, as the industry grew, I started to realize that everything was wrong. So when I finally decided to start my own company, there were a number of reasons. One of those was I knew I could build a better window. I could take care of my customers. I could service them better. I could make sure that they got what they paid for.
Visit Rosati Windows and get 35% off all windows and doors by March 31st.
Wounded Warrior Project helps post 9/11 veterans and their families realize what's possible. With support and resources that bring warriors together and empower them to become stronger, both inside and out.
It's possible to begin healing.
To get the help you need.
To find peace.
And as each warrior's needs evolve, so do we. Because these last 20 years are just the beginning. Learn more at woundedwarriorproject.org/possible.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning, I'm Isaiah Jacob. Last night on the ice, the Jackets fell to the Sharks 3-2. Now dropping 3 of their last 4, the CBJ are sitting in the final wild card spot, just 1 point ahead of the Ottawa Senators. The Jackets host the Bruins today at 5, who are sitting 1 spot ahead in the wild card race. In MLB action, both Ohio teams got a win yesterday as the Reds beat the Red Sox 6-5 off a Dane Meyer single scoring the game-winning run in the 11th inning. The Reds will host Boston once again at 1:40 this afternoon. Up in Cleveland, a similar story as the Guardians also went to extra innings. This time it was Chase DeLauter for Cleveland once again. DeLauter, who hit his 4th home run of the season, gave Cleveland the lead for good in the 10th, 6-5. He became the 3rd player in Major League history to hit a home run in each of his first 3 games. The Guards will finish off opening weekend today at 7:20, still in Seattle. Breaking sports news when it happens on The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
During weekend programming, pants are optional.
Look at my butt!
However, leather chairs may have been a bad choice. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
And we're back. Cohort team is Tim May, Isaiah Jacob. There's one more soundbite that I wanted to spin from Arthur Smith.
Sure.
And it is him discussing learning a new offense, which I think is an interesting concept.
Just looking for the personality of the players that are coming back. You know, getting a feel for it, what they've been running, where you think the skill sets are. I mean, some of it's obvious. I mean, you know the talent level from afar, but you're looking at it comparatively to your top competition. So really it was looking at the guys that we have coming back, kind of learning the schemes, what they've been taught, what they ran a lot of, like what were their kind of go-to. I mean, there's a lot going on, and you try to be objective and not rush to judgment. I mean, that's easy to sit back. I wasn't here, and you can get cynical or get too critical, and that's kind of the easy thing to do. But just the purpose was to get a feel for what they know. Really, the talent we have coming back, their personalities, their characteristics.
So, all right, he sounds open-minded, and so for all the fear that he's just a guy who wants to ground and pound and run the ball to death and put 3 tight ends on the field, I imagine that Arthur Smith's first impression when he got here would probably be what a lot of Ohio State fans would expect and boast about on the national landscape when they're getting into Instagram comment section arguments with fans of the Southeastern Conference.
Yeah.
I assume Arthur Smith showed up and goes, wow, we have a hell of a lot of talent on the outside, and we plan to use it.
Yeah, absolutely. And plus, that's what Ryan Day probably told him. But Ryan Day, I'm sure, said, we got to get the run game going. That doesn't mean you run the ball 80 times.
No.
Heck, they only averaged, 63 plays a game last year or something ridiculous like that. I mean, you don't necessarily run it 50% of the time. Or, I mean, every game is a different challenge. And I know we explain that throughout football season all the time and stuff, but some people some people don't grasp that. I mean, different games call for different measures and stuff. And sometimes you hit the nail on the head, sometimes you don't. But the bottom line about Ohio State is there is no excuse for not being able to gain a yard when you got to gain a yard. Ryan Day is the first person to tell you that.
Mm-hmm.
There's no excuse for not being able to do that. And then on top of that, you've got all this talent. There's no excuse for not having the most diverse offense in college football based on the talent on hand. And that's where you get to. You got to get the offensive line going first, you know. What's the first thing they build before they launch rockets? They build the
fuselage.
They build the launch pad.
Oh.
You got the launch pad is your offensive line, and then you go from there. And but that was a good guess. I'll give you that, Cole.
Thank you.
I guess you can shoot a rocket off from the woods if you want to, but the bottom line is you don't know if it's going to hit a limb or not. But the bottom line with Ohio State football this year is getting an offensive line going and then go from there, because they've got weapons across the board that they can utilize, from tight end to obviously Jeremiah Smith. We're going to talk about Chris Henry Jr. here in a little while, but Brandon Ennis. See, the thing he was talking about there too. You know, you think you take a how cushy would it be taking the Ohio State offensive coordinator job? But you still got to bring yourself up to speed. I mean, you got to spend countless hours watching video of how teams defensed you last year, meaning Ohio State, how your team responded to that individually, like he was talking about personalities, et cetera, individually, who did they take advantage of opposing defenses? That's pretty obvious in the last two games what was going on there. But then how did you counter that? How did your quarterback react to pressure? And then, of course, one of the mandates also, and even from Julian Say's got to run a little bit more. That doesn't mean you put in the wishbone and run Julian Saying.
Of course not.
People are so nuts about some things. It's just you want him to run a little more, because a quarterback like him especially, there are a lot of free yards that are afforded you if you just take advantage of it. And he did at times last year run a little bit, like against Michigan stuff. But the bottom line is he's got to feel more free to be a playmaker, I think, in his second year as the starter. And so you want to give him that freedom, like Julian was talking about under Arthur Smith. Now he's going to the line of scrimmage with a lot more probably responsibility of getting them in the right play or making changes based on what he sees, et cetera. And even the fellow players have noticed that he's putting more freedom. Maybe it's not the right word. The word is responsibility on the offensive line and Julian Saying to get them in the right situation from a blocking scheme standpoint and from a play standpoint. So that's what he brings to the table also, is that that's what they do in the National Football League, And so just round down the line, there's all these little things that can add up to a big thing at the end of the year. And I guess that's what I like about him, because he grew up in that environment of finally you have to understand the quarterback is really the guy in charge once the play comes in the headset. The quarterback is now, he either makes it or doesn't make the play. I mean, meaning the right handoff, the right blitz, the right pass pro on a blitz pickup, et cetera, the right read on pass routes. Because there were a couple times last year in those last two games where Julian had a guy maybe wide open or two if he had just scanned the field a little bit more, but he was under duress against Miami. And
Indiana.
And Indiana, but definitely Miami. Miami crushed him 2 or 3 times in the pocket. That's got to hurt and got to warp you a little bit. But the bottom line is, I think he's going to do as much for Julian Saying as anybody in terms of now turning him into a playmaker. And a playmaker at quarterback can take you places. Fernando Mendoza.
Yeah.
Fernando Mendoza.
Very nice.
Was a playmaker at the right times last year for Indiana, and they won a national championship. So was Will Howard the year before for Ohio State.
Yeah, absolutely. And so my question about this is, I'm curious, and we may not even know until the season actually takes place, but how much do you think that Ryan Day is going to be willing to delegate to Arthur Smith? Because that was a big topic last year. So 2 years ago, Chip Kelly was the OC who we talked about. Huge resume for Chip Kelly coming into Ohio State. Last year, Brian Hartline finally gets just the standalone OC and gets play calling duties, but then the debate becomes, is he actually calling plays because Ryan Day is stepping in when he kind of sees fit? So how much do you think Ryan Day would be willing to delegate to Arthur Smith with the impressive resume that Arthur Smith brings to this level?
First, let's make sure everybody understands. The head coach always has veto power.
Oh, for sure.
Always. He always has.
He's on the headset. He hears the calls.
He always has offering power, meaning offering up a play. I think this would work here.
Yeah.
Arthur or Brian or Chip. And so it's not Arthur Smith sitting at the consoles of a Madden or whatever NCAA, video game and just running plays, that he wants to run. They work on these schemes or these plans all week long. Everybody has input on it, from Carlos Loughlin to, Keenan Bailey. Tyler Bowen, right on down the line. Now it'll be Cortez Hankton. But the bottom line is they all work together to come up with plays that will work in certain situations. And you have a list for 3rd and 4, 3rd and 2. What do we like here, et cetera. So it's never just an autonomous, unilateral call by Arthur Smith. But you do have hunches, et cetera. But yeah, Ryan Day's always going to have the power to step in on the mic,
of course,
like we were talking about during the break, and say, I want to see you run this.
Hey, just be careful about who's using that frequency.
That's right, exactly. You don't want 3 people talking at once.
As we just 2 people hear it.
Talking about LaGuardia, but but the bottom line is that's what you want. And when things are really going, everybody's on the same way. They're talking about plays all the time, during breaks, sometimes during timeouts, et cetera. What do you like here? Hey, Tyler Bowen, your offensive line, run game coordinator, whatever. What do you like here? And he'll offer it up, but that doesn't mean that's what the final call is. But yeah, you have much more feel that Arthur Smith, being a veteran at this and being a former head coach, he's going to make the right call 9 times out of 10 because it's coming off a sheet you guys all agreed on in the first place.
Let's turn our focus and hone in on the receiver room. We'll do that next because one guy's overrated, one guy's underrated. We'll talk about it next. Stick around, 97.1.
Whatever you're doing right now, just know that Bo Bishop is enjoying a sip of bourbon. Even if this promo is playing in the morning, no judgment.
Sweet morning drinking.
The Fan.
Aetna was there for me as I was going through a rough medical patch this year. I had peace of mind, which helped with my healing.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up on calls with members and doctors' offices when requested. We show up with the latest in online tools for easier access to healthcare. We show up for you. Because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Hey there, friends. It's Bo Bishop here. You've heard me talk about High Bank's award-winning spirits, but let's talk about the food. High Bank delivers incredible meals and handcrafted cocktails in a space that works for every part of your week. Start with happy hour, drinks with friends, come back for brunch worth planning your weekend around, then stay for dinner. And get this, kids eat half off every Monday. Great food, award-winning drinks, a reason to come back time and time again. Make a reservation today at a location near you at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Forget the pot of gold. Save some green at Coghlan Chevrolet. Lease a new 26 Chevy Trax, $169 a month. New 26 Equinox, lease for $229 a month. Or lease a new 26 Silverado, $359 a month. Visit CoglanChevrolet.com. Together, let's drive.
Coghlan has the car for you.
39-month leases, Silverado 36-month lease, $39.99 due at signing, plus tax, title, and license. 10,000 miles per year, 25 cents per mile over. See dealer for details. Ends 3/31/26.
Bacon, sausage, egg, cheese, made from scratch biscuits, fresh baked croissants, cinnamon swirl French toast. Hungry? Grab a hot UDF breakfast sandwich made in store for your morning. UDF, Mornings made for you.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SPEED to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SPEED for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SPEED for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hi, I'm Connie Britton. I support Feeding America because they help provide over 6 billion meals to people in need each year. Learn more at feedingamerica.org. Feeding America, 200 food banks strong.
All your favorite fan shows are on YouTube, along with those fake YouTube ads like Chew This Gum and It Grows New Teeth. Experience the splendor of Bo sitting in his closet, Timmy Hall's gouty gold chains, and Matty Ice wearing a coat in 90-degree weather. It's all there. Head to YouTube and subscribe today.
It's Timmy Hall here with Gordon Miller, founder of Miller Lending. Now, Gordon, I remember hearing of your no-cost mortgages back in 2008 when I was on the air in Raleigh-Durham. So what brings you to Central Ohio?
Hey, Tim. Small world, isn't it? But we saw Columbus as the perfect market to offer our no-closing cost mortgage product. With a growing population and relocations, it was similar to our original decision to expand into Raleigh back in '96.
Well, I got to see firsthand how well it worked in Carolina. So how about explaining to our listeners how it truly has no closing cost associated?
That's right, Tim. Way back in 1987, I found a way to do mortgages without using the standard method of buying the rate down with thousands of dollars in various costs. Rates were volatile, much like they are today. And folks were stuck at higher rates because it simply cost too much to refinance. There had to be a better way, and we think we found it.
That was Gordon Miller, founder of Miller Lending, the home of the no-cost loan. Give him a call, 877-9-NO-COST, or online at nocostmortgage.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender. NMLS number 2502146.
Our double hung is as good as it gets. There's something really simple. It's called an interlock. We interlock our windows. The interlock is the absolute best way to alleviate air infiltration. With the interlock, it's harder to break into. When you interlock the sashes, it makes a better window. It's just a darn good window, and we're very proud of it.
Visit Rosati Windows and get 35% off all windows and doors by March 31st.
This radio station is more than 100 years old. And during that time, absolutely no one has hosted more shows than The Common Man. I don't know why we're bragging about that, but I just read the copy, okay? And then there's Timmy. What can I say about good old Timmy? Well, he's a heck of a guy. All right, let's cut the bull. Common Man and Timmy host a show that'll make you laugh at immature things, overreact to whatever's going on in the world of sports, and probably embarrass themselves in the process. And we love them for it. Common Man and Timmy. Weekdays from 3 to 6 on The Fan. Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see partly to mostly cloudy skies here for today as high temperatures reach the lower 60s for this afternoon. Heading into tomorrow, we're tracking even warmer temperatures with highs back in the lower 70s and then all the way to the upper 70s here on Tuesday. However, it will be quite windy as we go through your Tuesday. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Aaron White here on 97.1 The Fan.
During this 10-second promo, Rothman will lose money gambling on something.
People like you come here and blow the family nest egg that built this town.
Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. Sports talk, weekend style. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
All right, let's turn our focus to the wide receiver room real quick because there's somebody being discussed and has been discussed for like a year at this point that I think we're getting carried away, and it's Chris Henry Jr. Chris Henry Jr., by any measure, is a 5-star recruit, and ain't nothing wrong with that, but I think people are kind of getting carried away with what the expectations are because not everybody is Jeremiah Smith. Jeremiah Smith comes to Ohio State and is contending for the best wide receiver in the country year one. And that is right on the heels of what Marvin Harrison Jr. did here. And by the way, Marvin Harrison Jr., I'm pretty sure was redshirt eligible heading into year 2. So didn't play hardly at all his first year. And I thought Ohio State fans were getting carried away with Jeremiah Smith hype just because of that being literally on the heels of Marvin Harrison getting drafted 4th overall by Arizona. And I think that Ohio State fans, I thought Marvin Harrison was just slightly better, although we're talking about probably 1 versus 2 in the pecking order of Ohio State receivers in my lifetime. So not exactly an insult, but I just thought Marvin Harrison Jr. was just so next level. And Jeremiah Smith, obviously, right there. And you can do like a 1A, 1B, however you rank them, whatever. But I think Jeremiah Smith doing it as a freshman really put something in Buckeyes fans' minds that I think now is being carried over to Chris Henry Jr. in a way that I think may be unfair. I think the expectations are that he's just going to show up, crack the starting lineup immediately. Maybe he will, but just show up and be this all-world receiver when we got to understand in the process that Jeremiah Smith is the outlier and not the norm, even as far as 5-star wide receiver goes. Brandon Inniss was a 5-star wide receiver. He showed up, and he's entering year 4 as a role player who took 3 years to get into the starting lineup to begin with. Mm-hmm. So I just want to kind of watch. I'll bring down the expectations, and Chris Henry Jr. will lead the team in receiving yards this year. So,
possibility.
Watch. But
or maybe Brandon Inniss leads them in catches with everybody.
That would shock me. That would shock
quadruple
me.
Covering Jeremiah Smith.
That would shock me. But I just think that the expectations that are being levied toward Chris Henry Jr. are getting a little bit out of control. You've seen all of the 15 minutes of practice that they'll let you see when they're not doing anything, and then they'll close it off to the media.
They still run routes and stuff.
Yeah, but the Chris Henry Jr. hype
is real.
Is, first of all, based off of high school highlights, which I don't know what to do with that, man. These guys are going up against players who are just volunteering to play for their high school team, and not every opponent exactly has a future the way that a Chris Henry Jr. or any 5-star recruit does. So I don't know what to do with high school highlights of dudes who are just bigger, stronger, faster, who are born and bred to be pro athletes one day, going up against dudes who just are high school football players. So I don't know what to do with that with anybody. But where are you at with the Chris Henry Jr. hype and whether or not it's gone to a point where it's a little bit inappropriate?
I'm a believer.
Great.
I think the guy's really good. I mean, is he going to supplant Jeremiah Smith?
No.
This year? No. Jeremiah Smith going into his 3rd year. Brandon Inniss is ready. You know, now Brandon Inniss probably is your second look, or maybe your first look on a lot of things, but based on the way the defense plays you and what they take away and stuff. But Chris Henry Jr., when he stands next to Jeremiah Smith, just physically looks very much like him. Could probably be a stunt double in a movie.
Okay.
If they make a movie about Jeremiah Smith.
That's a great way to describe
this afternoon. And
the linguist.
This summer, then Chris Henry Jr. could be a stunt double. There's no doubt about it. I think the hype is real because there are too many people who've watched him, coaches, recruiting gurus, recruiting experts, everybody can see what he brings. I mean, Jeremiah Smith lorded over the field in high school also, but he delivered. He didn't just look the part, he delivered. Chris Henry Jr., same thing. And believe me, there was angst in the building on Wednesday of National Signing Day in that week between the win over Michigan and the Big Ten championship game against Indiana when Chris Henry Jr. stepped back after Brian Hardline had been named the new head coach of University of South Florida. There was angst in the building because they wanted him desperately, just like they wanted Jeremiah Smith a couple of years earlier and stuff. And remember Jeremiah Smith, the drama on signing day, which was interesting. But the bottom line is they got Chris Henry Jr. Everybody breathed a sigh of relief. Yeah, I think he's definitely worth the hype. But you gotta earn your spurs. You gotta earn your playing time. And I'm looking at these two guys they brought in, Devin McEwen and Cal Parker. They are different looking players. Cal Parker from LSU, Devin McEwen from University of Texas, San Antonio.
Roadrunners.
But man, McEwen is so quick, so fast. you haven't seen that kind of player on the field for Ohio State for a while. I like what he brings to the table there. And then Kyle Parker has played extensively in the Southeastern Conference, and he's followed his coach, or who followed whom. It's hard to tell. Cortez Hankton and Kyle Parker, but here they are at Ohio State, and I guarantee you, Kyle Parker Jr. lost his black stripe yesterday, and that's a big moment. And Cortez Hankton made sure we understood that and what it meant to him. So they've got it's a deep room, and one of the reasons is because of recruiting and the transfer portal. And now it's not just Jeremiah Smith and Brandon Ish. They lost two capable, but still underachieving fellas from that room who transferred, and one of them now has to
team.
Yeah. But the bottom line is that doesn't mean they were better than these guys. There are reasons guys leave, and sometimes it's because the writing is on the wall that it's going to be a challenge for you still to get on the field and stuff. So maybe sometimes, like water, you find the easier route. I'm not saying that's what happened there, but it sure looks like it. But the bottom line is, I think Chris Henry Jr. is going to be given every opportunity to prove himself capable. But comparing Chris Carter to Jeremiah Smith, or Chris Olave to Garrett Wilson, or to Jeremiah Smith, that's not fair. They're all different. They're all different looking dudes. But Chris Henry Jr., from a physical standpoint, brings you everything you want from a mismatch standpoint down the line for a wide receiver, because he has the physical capabilities, he has the speed, he clearly has the hands, and if he gets his route running, basically the ability to be consistent on his route running and things like that down, he's going to play, I think, a lot as the season goes on, because, you may only get 3 years with him.
So are you under the impression that both Quincy Porter and Mylan Graham left to go to Notre Dame because they thought that Chris Henry Jr. was going to walk onto the roster and immediately be
I didn't speak to actually either of them when they left. I was more Mylan Graham kind of got his chances last year and didn't pan out for them like they thought he would. Quincy Porter was banged up and stuff a lot. I liked Quincy Porter this time a year ago. I was raving about Quincy Porter. Liked him a lot. But that's spilt milk, man. They're gone. I mean, when you bring in a Devin McEwen, a guy you really haven't seen around for a while, and you got Legend Bay sitting there champing at the bit to play as a freshman. We'll see how he goes. A guy that played mainly quarterback in high school in Texas, but his ability jumps off the video at you when you watch him from a physical with the ball in his hands. If you get him involved in the passing game as well as possibly running back, you got something going on there. This is it's
like a Curtis Samuel type.
Yeah, Curtis Samuel type. I mean, but Devin McEwen is just, man, I don't want to say water bug, because that's really not accurate. This guy's a football player, but he's really quick and fast. And then Kyle Parker's just that stud guy will make that catch for you maybe on third down, but then maybe the ones on first and second down too. So this is an interesting wide receiver room that could have been rocked by those two guys leaving from a depth standpoint, but I think is enhanced by what they've got. And, Jaquaden Guilford, I mean, I
was just about to ask you about him, actually.
Yeah, I like him. And the other kid, Brock, I always get his last name mixed up. I always call him Brock Purdy. Brock Boyd, the kid from Texas, from South Lake Carroll. If you heard me, I mean, I think Austin Ward asked Cortez Hankton about him after the practice yesterday. And he was talking about, yeah, man, this guy, you watch him play. He gives everything, touches every button to a certain extent. And I asked him follow-up, did you follow up and was he on y'all's radar at LSU? And he basically said, we knew of him. But I mean, now you see this guy, you watch his workouts. I mean, you watch him play in games. And South Lake Carroll, it's not like playing in the MAC.
No. But South Lake Carroll's a noteworthy program.
But it's not, but it's pretty damn good football. 6A, Division I, 6A football in the state of Texas is pretty good. And that guy is fantastic. So they like this room a lot, I do believe.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News is going to join us in 2 minutes. Stick around, 97.1 The Fan.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turn skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
When it comes to your roofing, siding, or gutter needs, call Newman Roofing, 614-NEW-ROOF, newmanroofing.com.
He's a husband, a dad, owner of a gym. He's also a police officer. Staying strong and pain-free isn't optional. It's safety. That's why David Boardman's a QC Kinetics patient.
My job is dependent on my physical ability and my physical fitness so that I can protect myself, so that I can go home safe to my family at the end of the night.
But severe knee pain nearly took that away. Doctors said surgery, shut down the workouts. David needed another option. That was QC Kinetics. They told him,
we're going to give you the opportunity to have not one, but 2 healthy knees, and we don't have to cut you open.
They used David's own healing tools in his blood to help restore his knees. Regenerative treatments right in the office.
Since I've gone to them, I run 20, 30 miles a week.
Trust the team helping active people avoid surgery. Call QC Kinetics today for your free consultation.
Call QC Kinetics, 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544. 380-208-4544.
We got a higher home appraisal after we put away our African art and family photos.
Has this happened to you because of race or national origin? Contact HUD at hud.gov/fair housing. A message from HUD and the National Fair Housing Alliance.
Question from a listener: do you dopes ever get tired of talking about Ohio State? No. The Buckeye Show.
Weeknights at 6.
The Fan. Your go-to destination for Buckeye football talk all year round. This is Fan Sports Sunday.
Bill Bender of the Sporting News joins us. Cole Bartemus, Tim May, Isaiah Jacob. Fan Sports Sunday. I saw that Bill had a really cool article over at the Sporting News about
just one
in particular that caught my eye about the all-time bracket, taking all the best 1 seeds, putting them in a bracket, taking all the best 2 seeds all the way down the line. And I saw that, Bill, you had the famous Loyola Marymount team, an 11 seed. You had them making it all the way to the Sweet 16 in this hypothetical bracket, even against all of the 6s and so on and so forth. And so I thought that was pretty cool. Just what created this idea of this article?
Oh, I like to have fun this time of year and come up with some creative content. You know, you see brackets of everything from candy bars to movies and everything in between this time of year. And, I just thought, I thought it was fun exercise to go and look at each seed and see who the best teams were. I mean, my lifetime, and I'm 46, I still think that 95-96 Kentucky team's the best team I've ever seen. But there are other candidates on that list. So we had a lot of fun putting together the hypothetical matchups. The Big Ten was obviously well represented on that list. And much like this tournament, the Big Ten, the pressure would be, are they going to win a national championship with these teams they have left?
Hey, how did Phi Slama Jama do on that list, Bill?
Well, I think they didn't get a 1 seed. So, that's the hard part.
Yeah.
If who are the 4 best 1 seeds of all time? I would put Kentucky. I would put Duke 91-92. I would put UNC 81-82. I mean, their entire lineup was basically NBA guys. And then I like UNLV. My partner Mike DeCourcy liked the Georgetown Patrick Ewing thing. The problem with Georgetown and UNLV, though, is their better team didn't win a national championship the following year. So, they win one, then they don't win one. And in exercises like this, that's hard to do. The UNLV team's the coolest team in my lifetime. I think anybody in their mid-40s will tell you the same thing.
Yeah. By the way, I got to meet Larry Johnson because he was in the crowd when I flew out with Buster Douglas and John Johnson when they were wooing. The Mirage was wooing them to come fight Evander Holyfield there. And they put us in the front row at the Siegfried and Roy show, and sitting right behind us was Larry Johnson, a couple of guys from UNLV. I go, hey, this is pre-NIL, by the way.
They didn't put you in the ring with Evander Holyfield, Tim?
No, heck no. No. Dude, heavyweight fighters, anybody gets into the ring back then with Mike Tyson or anybody else, even Buster Douglas, you're in your underwear with gloves on. It takes it takes more guts than I think a lot of people think about that. Even the guys that get knocked out in 91 seconds. But I digress. I wanted to, like last night, what did Arizona, for example? You've been on my podcast a few times and appreciate your efforts there. But what did Arizona prove to you last night? I mean, to me, it was like a cat toying with a mouse, and then not a mouse. Yeah, we could call them a mouse just for the sticking with my analogy. But then the second half, they just said, no, we're here actually to do harm to you.
Well, yeah, I mean, I thought for a half Purdue played how, the Big Ten style, their deliberate way that they play offense, and it worked. And then Arizona had a halftime to recalibrate. And the thing that sticks out with me is they have, every year when I watch the tournament, I'm like, okay, which team has a point guard? Which team has a 7-footer? Which team has a wing that can dunk over everybody? And which team rebounds well?
Yeah.
And Arizona checked all of those boxes with their starting five. All five of them have hit double digits in the tournament. Their bench isn't real deep, but their starting lineup is a national championship starting lineup, and Tommy Lloyd's pulling the right strings. They're going to be a tough out. Whoever wins that Michigan-Tennessee game, Arizona's going to be tough out there. And I think, are they – I don't know. I didn't look. Maybe you guys can answer this. Cool, Tim. Are they the betting national championship favorite? They probably should be.
I have not looked at that. I'm sure Cole can look that up.
Isaiah says yes. We'll go with what Isaiah says.
Yeah. So, but that was based on last night. What if Michigan, just destroys today?
Which they have been.
I told you a couple of days ago, I really want to see Michigan play Arizona just for my own satisfaction of knowing which one is that team, because I really think Michigan, when it gets its act together, is extremely good, or is what was it? Who was the guard yesterday was saying it's over, in that semifinal the other day to the not Tennessee guy, whoever they played. But you know what I'm talking about. I mean, it's over, and they moved on. It was Cadeau, I think, making the comment. But I really like those two teams, man. Am I wrong?
No, I'd like to see it too, and I think that the three best teams coming into the tournament were Duke, Arizona, and Michigan, and all three have a chance to make the Final Four. I think the thing with Michigan that is astounding in some ways is Howard shut the lights out in the first half. Alabama shut the lights out in the first half, and it just didn't matter. They have an extra gear. Yaxel's playing very well. I don't know if I heard like they're could they be the best Michigan team ever? I mean, I think Glenn Rice and that 89 team would have something to say about that, and then the Fab Five teams that lost national title games. So there's still a long way to go.
Yeah.
But it is a talented Michigan team. I'm with you, Tim. I would like to see them play Arizona because I think the winner of that game would probably be my pick to win the national title.
Yeah. Let me interject something real quick, though. The thing about those teams, you got to see them play for a couple of years and really develop into those. Now is everybody in the Michigan starting lineup a transfer? I think maybe I'm wrong, but I mean, Mara should have been holding sway for UCLA this year. You know what I mean? I mean, right on down the line, it's just a collection of five really good players. I mean, that's what's interesting about it. I mean, you you give a lot of credit to Dusty May, but the thing is, they put this together. This is a prototype airplane. They're flying at people that parts were in different places a year ago, and I just think it's really interesting how those parts have come together, and that's what stands out to me about them.
Well, again, an ideal starting five. You have the 7-3 guy. You have Morez next to him, who hasn't played well in the tournament, and you have Yaxel, who's a dynamic wing. And I mean, I guess the key is Elliot Cadeau. How does he play over the next couple games? There's been some questions about him since LJ Kaysen got injured, but I mean, they're a really good team. Illinois is a really good team. The thing about Illinois, we talk so much about their offense. Illinois, the last three games, hasn't allowed 60 points to an opponent.
Yeah.
I think Illinois is just nasty.
Yeah.
They're tall, they're nasty, they rebound, and
the Itchies.
Brad Underwood's done a nice job there.
They're the Itchies, all those guys.
I wanted to ask you about them, Bill Bender joining us here on 97.1, because we have Arizona as the leader in the clubhouse in terms of the betting odds to win it all. So Arizona at the top, then Michigan. So you assume that if those two meet each other in the Final Four, then the winner of that one will be the overwhelming favorite to win it all. But this Illinois team is kind of hanging out there, and they have played some really, really good basketball up to this point. What do you think their ceiling is? Can they win it all?
They can. I mean, the winner And I think UConn would be a better matchup for them if UConn can beat Duke today, which they could. I mean, Terrace Reed is playing. He's averaging 20 and 15 in the tournament. And Dan Hurley proved the other night, and Tim and I talked about this Friday, is like you knew that Michigan State-UConn game was going to be a fist fight, and one team would just make a couple more shots, and in the last couple minutes, it was Caravan and Reed that did that. So we were right for once. But I think it'll be a really good game with Duke. But with Duke, they're getting healthy. Cameron Boozer, whenever they need a bucket, he may not make the bucket. He gets the free throws. They've been pretty good. I think John Shire, I mean, this sounds like you guys are going to be like, roll your eyes a little bit, but in terms of elite program, elite coach, I think he's probably the best coach without a national title. Won't surprise me if he can lead this Duke team to the whole thing.
Yeah, but that's my upset special days. I like UConn, so that's where like I said earlier. I said, we'll love or hate Danny Hurley. I mean, golly, man, he gets his guys to play. You know, we had Jacob Reimer on earlier on here, and we were talking about, you know, they're built for this time of the year, which is kind of the way you want to build a college football team anymore for the playoffs now, right? If you can get into it more than maybe even the regular season. But I think they're playing extremely well at exactly the right time, and there's something to be said for that, correct?
Yeah, you know, and Dan Hurley's a great X's and O's guy, and they're again, if you get in like an old school Big East battle, they're going to be in it. Which UConn and Duke have a history in the tournament. UConn has a history of upsetting them in the tournament, Tim. So that's not a bad call today. I think it's going to be real tight. I think that'll be the tighter of the two games. I'm not saying Tennessee can't beat Michigan. I mean, Rick Barnes, obviously, longtime coach, super nice guy, trying to get to his first Final Four. The thing with them, you know, watch down low. They're going to have to get Mara and Johnson in foul trouble. And they can with their post, and they have a super talented freshman forward. But you guys probably replay this, making fun of me later, but Tennessee has to shoot very well from the three-point line. And they don't rely on that as much as Alabama and St. Louis and Howard and those teams that have already played the Wolverines.
Yeah, if I'm Mara, I mean, I tell Mara, just be patient in there. Don't worry about, you know, slamming. I mean, just hold your arms up. You know what I mean? On defense, and don't get too excitable early, and let them kind of take their shot and then move on. Hey, real quick, if all these people have brackets that are blown up and stuff, I mean, this always looked like a semi-chalk kind of thing in terms of 2 or 3 or maybe even all 4 top number 1 seeds getting to the Final Four. With people who have their brackets blown up by now, were they not paying attention? What's your take on that, Bill? You know what I mean?
Well, I had the Final Four, and the receipts at sportingnews.com. I did have the Final Four to Illinois, Duke, Arizona, and Michigan. And when you print something like that, people will say, well, you know, way to take a chance on, you know,
but
cocky. Well, that's been the story of the tournament the last couple of years.
Right.
I'm just like, to me, it's like you take a number 1 seed until you absolutely see somebody that can beat them. Now, Iowa did that to Florida. There's no question.
Mm-hmm.
But it kind of is what I said at the top. Arizona and Duke have a chance to sweep. They were regular season champs. They were tournament champs, conference tournament champs, and now they could win a national title.
Yeah.
So to me, it's like, is there somebody good enough to beat those two? Michigan obviously lost in the Big Ten tournament, but is somebody good enough to beat them? And, you know, they were 3. And Illinois, I did take a little bit of a flyer on them, but when I see a super tall team that rebounds well and plays defense well, it's hard not to pick them.
Bill, we appreciate your time, man. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Hey, anytime, guys. Thanks for having me on. Take care.
Hope those guys win today.
Yeah.
Assistant coach.
There goes Bill Bender of the Sporting News, and he was on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline, as was Jacob Reimer earlier in the show, was on the Bryant Heating and Cooling System fan guest hotline. All right, coming up next, not the secret subject, because that's going to be at the top of the hour at 1 o'clock, but this whole Mendoza versus Simpson debate, I think it actually says more about us than it does about them, and I'll explain what I mean next, coming up next. Stick around, 97.1.
A lot of hosts have been on our airways in the past 30 years. Some good, some bad, some really bad. Anyway, Sorry for that. The Fan.
$5,000. That's the average amount of money people in the U.S. are now spending on gas in a year. $5,000. That's crazy. If you drive, you have to download Upside, the free app that gives you cash back every time you get gas. That's right. You can earn real cash back with Upside just by buying the gas you're already buying. You can literally start earning cash back today.
I use Upside every time I fill up, and I've already made around $300.
You're putting gas in your car anyway. Why not get real cash back? If you like free money, download Upside.
I'm saving the cash I earn from using Upside to help pay for a vacation later this year.
Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code SPEED to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code SPEED for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code SPEED for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Recently, our company softball team lost the big game by 1 run. Then Dale tried to console us with the quote, "Winning isn't everything." Dale's a loser. I play to win, like early payout from Bet365. If my team goes up big, I get paid out instantly, even if they blow the lead later. Sound familiar, Dale? Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
Enjoy more ways to save at Kroger, like low prices in every aisle. And you can clip and save more with digital coupons in the Kroger app. Plus, you can earn fuel points to save up to $1 per gallon at the pump. So it's always easy to save big. Kroger, fresh for everyone. Savings may vary by state. Fuel restrictions apply. See site for details.
For a great Valentine's Day dinner, choose USDA Choice Bone-In Ribeye Steaks. Just $9.99 a pound in the value pack with your card. Kroger, fresh for everyone.
Hey, John, why so glum?
I just got let go. The company's downsizing. This is the 3rd time in the last 2 years. I'm done with this.
Have you thought about My Computer Career? I've heard they can train you for a career in IT in just a few months, including cybersecurity and the basics of AI. And you don't need prior training or experience. Now that's a recession-resistant career.
Wow, thanks. I'll check them out.
Go to mycomputercareer.edu and take the free career evaluation. Mycomputercareer.edu, an Elite CompTIA certification partner. Financial aid is available to those who qualify, including VA benefits.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Columbus, are you hungry? Well, it's a good thing Uber Eats has the best deals at all your favorite local restaurants. Like this great deal at El Vaquero. From now until March 31st, you can get a buy one, get one free quesadilla deal, all on the Uber Eats app. That's good for me, but I need to figure out what everybody else is going to eat. So next time you're craving a great meal, don't overthink it. Just get on the Uber Eats app and save big with a great deal. Order now only on Uber Eats. Terms apply. See app for details.
It's a new month and a new reason to visit Germain Honda of Dublin. Right now, take advantage of great low rates on select certified pre-owned models all month long. You'll get the reliability you trust, the value you want, and payments that make sense. And the wait is over. The all-new Honda Prelude has arrived with precision suspension and responsive hybrid performance. Great rates, awesome vehicles. Only at Germain Honda of Dublin. They're on Sawmill Road, just south of 270, or online at GermainHondaofDublin.com.
Common Man and Timmy.
You don't feel like reaching around and trying to...
reaching around.
You don't feel like reaching back behind your head.
We all know what that's like, right, Teddy?
Common Man and Timmy, afternoons on the Fan. It's sponsored by the Hinderer Motor Company.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Spring can be a tricky season weather-wise, but new windows from Window Nation can keep your home comfortable no matter what's going on outside. Plus, in March, the more you buy, the more you can save. Up to 50% off all window styles. Visit windownation.com for your free consultation today.
I'm Yolanda Harris. I'm a journalist at 10 TV News. I grew up here, and after 25 years of telling this community's stories, this place still means so much to me. When I'm not in the newsroom, I'm usually out supporting the same people and causes I care deeply about. I don't just report about our community, I belong to it. What happens here affects us all, and that's why we care so deeply about getting it right. And when local journalism is done right, it doesn't sit still. It moves. It moves you to act, to verify, to volunteer, to speak up or lend a hand. It moves your mind by challenging assumptions and offering new perspectives. It moves you forward by giving you the information to make decisions and thrive where you live. And yes, it moves your heart through the kind of human storytelling that stays with you wherever you are. And at 10 TV, we're here for all of it. These are the stories that move Central Ohio.
Day one, the hardest day. The day you hear,
"This is a type of blood cancer."
At the Leukemia and Lymphoma Society, we are here to help you move past day one. To learn more and get help on any day, visit LLS.org or call 1-800-955-4572.
The Fan Poll is sponsored by JT's Pizza and Pub, home of award-winning pizza and 32-ounce Yuengling drafts for only $4. It's sports conversation, but with a drink and umbrella as a garnish. This is Fan Sports Sunday.
All right, Colbert team is Tim May, Isaiah Jacob. The talk of the sports nation this week is something that I think actually...
We're a bored sports nation.
Yeah, we
all
are.
I got to say.
Yeah. And us three just the same. But we're trying to spice it up. So here, I got a new angle on this thing because every single day this week we got Mendoza versus Simpson, Mendoza versus Simpson, Mendoza versus Simpson. And if you missed it this week, here you go. Dan Orlovsky on Get Up as he has pivoted off of Fernando Mendoza going to Ty Simpson officially after kind of hinting at this for a while.
I think Ty Simpson is QB1. I think Ty Simpson is the best quarterback in this class. I think when you look at the body of work and what was asked of these two quarterbacks, you have to start with the question, who needed to do more to carry their football team to play well? Ty Simpson, and it's not close between those two quarterbacks. When it comes to moments of panic and big throws, real NFL throws, I think it's clearly Ty Simpson.
So it is, I mean, to be clear, this will get a lot of attention that you feel this way because you are, at this point, I think one of the people whose opinions on this stuff matter the most. And everyone has their opinion, and this is certainly going to be an unconventional one. But you're comfortable saying if you had the choice between the two of them, you would take Ty right now.
I would much rather have Ty, and I like Fernando Mendoza. This is not to slight Mendoza.
Yeah.
I would rather have Ty Simpson at the 15 to 20 range than Fernando Mendoza at 1.
I like draft talk, but I also don't because we have way too much time on our hands.
Too much time, baby.
In between the actual games and when the draft actually takes place.
Need that cowbell, baby.
Yeah, exactly. And so no games are taking place, yet our opinions are changing. So what that reveals about the industry that we work in, and this is what the fan out there listening to Sports Talk Radio or Sports Talk Television, whatever it is, here's how low stakes it is. Even though the industry kind of created this disguise that, and this is maybe a little bit outdated at this point, but that like it was all about debate and the hardcore debates. That was what all the TV shows were all about. Just, put everybody together. Let's scream and yell. Let's have debates. Here's how low stakes these conversations are. No football games have taken place since January. We are approaching April and we're changing our opinions on players. That tells everybody that there's too much going on. There is not enough time in football season to actually keep up with everything that's going on. And so there isn't a radio host or a television host who actually watches every second of every game, and we all got to compartmentalize however we can. And so I think this is just revealing how low stakes all this stuff actually is, because Dan Orlovsky, who I'm sure, and I'm not questioning his work ethic, works very hard. But
yeah,
he only has 24 hours in a day.
But he watches video.
He's got either 3 or 4 children. He's got a wife, so he's got a life too.
His opinion is respected. It's respected by me. That doesn't mean you agree with him.
It took him 2 months, and this is not a criticism of Dan Orlovsky, by the way. This is a criticism of just the industry at large. But it took him 2 months after the season to catch up on everything that happened in the season to get to the point where, hey, Ty Simpson's a better quarterback than Fernando Mendoza. Okay, fine. I'm not even arguing that opinion whatsoever. It's just, I think this is the lesson after years and years and years of the industry kind of being a hot take factory, is that people only take, when you're consuming this stuff, take it with a grain of salt, take it as entertainment, because it took him, an expert, 2 months after the season to eventually figure that out. So there's too much going on. So just keep that in mind as you're consuming sports. Even us.
I got to see Ty Simpson play live last year because I meant to ask you about that. During an off week, met my brother down in South Carolina, and we went to see Alabama at South Carolina. I'd always wanted to see a game there in that stadium, and it was cool as hell. And then, of course, Alabama won it in the last minute. But It was actually a play by another player, not Ty Simpson, that won it. But two things stood out to me. I thought Ty Simpson looked uncomfortable most of the game throwing the ball. But the reason is because Alabama's offensive line was not very good last year. But all year, I mean, I watched as much football as anybody in this building, and I don't care who you name. And I watch a lot of the big-time teams play, watch them on replay, speed it up, or whatever you want to call it. Ty Simpson was not the same player as Fernando Mendoza last year in any kind of way. I know his stats stack up. You can stack numbers up against anything, but Fernando Mendoza, number one, was extremely accurate throwing the ball. Number two, he threw more than just back shoulder throws. But for anybody who thinks a back shoulder throw is just a walk in the park.
Oh, that's hard.
That's a difference maker. In their game against Ohio State, it was a touchdown pass. In their game against the national championship game against Miami, he hit 3 of those that were huge. But then on top of that, when they needed a touchdown at the end of the game, they ran a quarterback draw on a 4th down. What was it, 4th and 5, and the will that Fernando Mendoza showed to get to the end zone. It was incomparable from any other quarterback last year. It's why he won the Heisman Trophy. Everybody saw that. Right now, Fernando Mendoza is the choice of the quarterbacks coming out in this class, in Tim May's opinion. Ty Simpson, I don't know where to put him, because I never saw him really comfortable last year against big-time opponents.
Yeah.
I'm not talking about, sort of that run they went on and, some of the overranked SEC teams they beat, as it turned out. And they were, But I just see Mendoza, man, when you're around him, like in that championship game, when you're around that guy, he exudes leadership. He exudes awareness of what's going on. He hits all the buttons. And on top of that, he's going to sell tickets. I mean, he's going to sell tickets, bottom line. That's really what it's all about in the National Football League. And so, you can debate all kinds of reasons. You can like a cow over a bull. But, I'll take the bull any day of the week. And that's why I look at Mendoza. Mendoza's a bull, and he just needs to keep playing.
Did you catch that one, Isaiah?
I heard that one.
Bulls and cows?
Because the bull ends up ruling the pasture is my big point.
Oh.
So when he gets in the same pasture, let's put it that way. But the bottom line is, I like Mendoza. And I think sometimes you have hot takes just so people will, for clicks and ratings and stuff. And I don't think there's a debate. By the matter of fact, to talk to Paris Johnson Jr., there's the big debate on who Arizona's going to get. What are they, the 4th pick or whatever it is? 3rd pick. And,
they could go anywhere.
Yeah. And whether they go for a quarterback at that spot remains to be seen. I was talking to him about the other day at the Ohio State camp. So, I'm a Mendoza guy. Mendoza line all the way.
Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. Ty Simpson is kind of getting size shamed because he's only 6'1". He's definitely getting shamed for only having...
he's a good player. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah. He only has 15 starts, I believe, and so that's definitely something that I would be concerned about because the evidence there is real, and I think it makes sense. But I've been comfortable with the idea of Fernando Mendoza being quarterback 1 in this draft for a while, and so I don't mind sticking with it. I'm not saying... Now, I don't have all the information. Dan Orlovsky has done way more research on this than I have.
I'll say something bold. Indiana does not win the national championship last year without Fernando Mendoza at quarterback. There's a bold statement.
Yeah. I think everybody would probably agree with you on that one, but I have no problem with it. It's just I hear stuff like that, and I just think I hope people out there, and I don't think many are at this point in time, but aren't like falling for the charade of how it's so interesting how the divide between local sports talk and national like TV shows. Not that Get Up is one of those shows, but just what the industry is presented people for, especially like in my formative years, so to speak, with the industry in terms of like high school and beyond.
Yeah.
And just what people are getting spoon fed. That's just something I want people to take away from that. It took him 2 months to catch up on everything he missed because he's a busy guy with a busy life and a lot on his plate. So take opinions with a grain of salt. It's entertainment more than it is anything else. So
Yeah.
Just keep that in mind. We got a Sports Center update coming up at the top of the hour. And on the other side of this commercial break, I'm not going to tell you because it's a secret subject. We'll talk about that next. 97.1.
We're your radio home for the Buckeyes, Browns, and all the NFL games you can handle. We may have a bit of a football problem. Oh, yeah. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
At Great Lakes Hyundai, the savings are so good.
Take your shot to save at Great Lakes Hyundai. Shoot the hoop to get extra savings on your new car purchase. On top of big shot savings like 0% financing on 26 Hyundai Santa Fe's and Tucson's for up to 5 years. Plus, make no payments for 90 days. It's the Hyundai Getaway Sales Event. Dublin or Columbus or GLakesHyundai.com. With Pro Credit, some customers may not qualify. Interest accrues during no payment period. New Hyundais come equipped with owner assurance and America's Best warranty. A 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain coverage. Offer ends 3/31.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cashback app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code LAUGH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code LAUGH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code LAUGH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Get Eco.
ECO. Hey, Jerry, you know how we remind people not to be a sump pump grump this time of year?
I sure do. If people's sump pumps aren't pumpy, they sure can get grumpy.
And down in the dumpy.
But our $89 sump pump inspection can replace all that sump pump grumpiness with happiness.
Even if it doesn't rhyme.
Get Eco.
ECO. Our expert sump pump plumbers will make sure your sump pump is working to spec and ready to pump. We'll even do a camera inspection of your downspout drainage system to make sure there aren't any backups causing problems down the line.
And turn your sump pump grump into a flow-it-all, know-it-all.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry, I'm starting to think not everything we do has to rhyme.
But rhymes help people remember things they like, Aaron. I mean, you like Hokey Pokey, don't you?
I do like the Hokey Pokey.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and sump pump technicians.
Need a roof you can count on? Ramos Roofing has protected homes and businesses throughout Ohio for almost 20 years. Whether it's a leaky roof, storm damage, new siding, or new gutters to protect your foundation, Ramos Roofing delivers quality materials, professional installation, and honest service every time. Get your free roof or exterior assessment today and ask about Ramos Roofing's no-interest financing options. Call 614-761-7663 or visit online at ramosroofingohio.com.
Broadcasting live from the McDaniel GM Superstore Studios. Driving excellence since 1916. Chevrolet. Together, let's drive. WBNS HD1 Columbus.
Good morning, I'm Isaiah Jacob. Last night on the ice, the Jackets fell to the Sharks 3-2. Now dropping 3 of their last 4, the CBJ are sitting in the final wild card spot, just 1 point ahead of the Ottawa Senators. The Jackets host the Bruins today at 5, who are sitting 1 spot ahead in the wild card race. Yesterday in MLB action, both Ohio teams got a win as the Reds beat the Red Sox 6-5 in the 11th, and then the Guardians beat the Mariners 6-5 in the 10th. Yesterday in college hoops, the 3-seed Illinois defeated the 9-seed Iowa 71-59, advancing to the Final Four. Later on last night, Arizona, the 1-seed, beat Purdue 79-64. Today in more Elite Eight action, the 1-seed Michigan plays the 6-seed Tennessee at 2:15. Then later on at 5:05, 1-seed Duke plays 2-seed UConn. Breaking sports news when it happens on the Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Are you still in your pajamas? We are. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
I'm going to be busy on May 10th, starting at, that's 5 p.m. Pacific time, so it'll be 8 o'clock here. So a couple weeks ago, they announced the roast of Kevin Hart. So Netflix is going to be doing that. They are going to be doing it on the final night of the Netflix is a Joke Fest, which is exactly what they did a couple years ago. I don't know why they didn't have one last year, but 2 years ago, they so I guess Comedy Central had the annual roast going. COVID may have killed that. And then Netflix brings it back 2 years ago. I was hoping there'd be an annual thing too, just because it's such entertaining content.
Yeah.
I thought an easy target would be and he'd probably do it, and it'd be really funny. And everybody would be funny making fun of him, and he'd be funny making fun of everybody else. I think Charles Barkley would be one of the best people to have on a roast.
Yeah, he'd be pretty good.
So
he can give it and take it.
Yeah, and you can have that piggy if you want to go with an athlete theme, which clearly Netflix wasn't like going for. But if Tom Brady was willing to do it for the greatest roast of all time, then I thought Charles Barkley would have made sense. And you and I, you more than me, when I said, hey, they're roasting Kevin Hart, kind of rolled your eyes a little bit.
Well, here's the thing. If it's a roast of Kevin Hart, the handicap should be you cannot make any short jokes.
But that's
I know, but I mean, okay, now let's see how funny you really are without making fun of a guy's physical, something he has nothing, he could not do anything about. I had a buddy of mine that was really short, and people have always cracked on him short jokes because, I mean, that's like, making fun of somebody's not handicap, but I mean, you can't do anything about being short. That is your life, and it has nothing to do with who you are. Well, I guess it does have something to do with what you become. You can't be necessarily an NBA center and stuff, but but I just think
no, you cannot. Can you be a pilot?
What you challenge? Oh, heck yeah! What you challenge, you just challenge them. Okay, this is the roast. This is the challenge. You can't make any short jokes. Now let's see what you got.
Yeah.
Now let's see how funny you really are, big fella or big lady.
So I think I think the kibosh was put on any jokes about Brady's kids and especially the
imagine
the son who he kissed mouth to mouth during his massage. I think that one was off limits. Robert Kraft may have been off limits too.
Well,
if memory serves.
Yeah.
But so all we know about this one so far is that Shane Gillis is going to be the host of said roast.
Okay, that's a great start.
It is a great start. I'm a fan of Shane Gillis.
Me
as well.
too.
So,
have you watched Tires, by the way?
Yeah, I'm halfway through season 2.
Oh, I just binge watched it one night. The whole two seasons. I just think that's just that. I love that little glib humor that he's all about. Man, it's really funny.
Season 1 was really, really funny to me. Season 2 is kind of struggling to hold my attention.
Yeah, but then they had the HR come in or whatever, and stuff. That was pretty funny.
Yeah. So that's all we know so far. So
here's what I would have.
Oh,
you going to ask me who I'd have?
Yes, but before that, I'll give you.
Okay, you go ahead.
I'll give you the lineup from the roast of Tom Brady.
Okay.
Just to get the ball rolling. So it's a roast. So you got to have Jeff Ross because that's almost a law at this point.
Yeah.
It's
kind of like lighter fluid for a charcoal grill.
They had Kevin Hart, so just the same. This was, I believe, Nikki Glazer's 4th appearance on a roast. However,
definitely have her.
Yeah, but apparently the entire universe acted like they never heard of her before the last one.
Wow.
Yeah, but
she
that was like her 4th roast, and then she does that, and now she's like this giant superstar. It's like, what about all the other appearances?
What she just host? Was it the Golden Globes? Or
back-to-back years because of that. So,
oh my goodness, she is
that elevated
ridiculous funny.
Yeah. We had Tony Hinchcliffe make the appearance, and I thought he was the star of that one. It was kind of the all-podcast lineup. You could see the tides changing in how people consume their content because it was all of the comedians who are star podcasters, and obviously Tony Hinchcliffe of Kill Tony. They had Segura and Kreischer, which I thought having two guys go up together is tough. I don't think Steve Martin and Martin Short are that funny together when they go up on stage together. It's just
sometimes they are. Sometimes they're really funny. But I mean, if that's your shtick,
Yeah, but it's just so
like
hacky.
Martin and Lewis. I mean,
we'll get to Dean Martin in a second.
Yeah,
but it's just when you have two people go up on stage and are trying to play off each other, it's so hard to not look like an act. Because when someone goes up solo, they're just talking.
But these things are acts. I mean, everything's written for them. Some things, you hear about these roasts. I mean, they all these people go up and kill, or whatever, do great jokes, but then they video people going crazy over somebody else's line. I mean,
this one's live though. I'm pretty sure
they jam all of exactly. But that'll be good. Then it'll be an honest roast.
Mm-hmm. But when
turn the spit.
when two people go up and they're reading the teleprompter and like it'd be like, "Hey Tim," and you'd be like, "What, Cole?" And it goes back. Like it's just so choppy. The timing's off. You can tell. The only two people who I think are really good at it would be Tina Fey and Amy Poehler. Those two did a really good job with whatever award show they were hosting. I've watched one of their monologues. Well, dialogues actually, technically. But those two are the only ones who I think really can kind of break through. So Segura and Kreischer didn't do anything for me. Andrew Schultz last year, obviously young guy. Sam, I have no idea why Sam J was there. I guess Bill Burr declined. Must have been the case. So she was there for Boston flavor, although I had never really heard of her like that before. Some surprise guests who came through. This Will Ferrell as Ron Burgundy is not funny to me. Like, whatever. So maybe just me.
Okay.
Kim K showed up.
Will Ferrell can be extremely funny.
So if we were building, you can go about this whichever way you want. You can either build your lineup for the roast of Kevin Hart, or we can build our lineup for the roast of Tim May.
Yeah. Well, here's the thing. I think Dave Chappelle, for example, would have great observations about Kevin Hart. I think Dave Chappelle is funny in all kinds of ways. The only thing, about Dave Chappelle and like Nate Bargatze, for example, or Bargatze, is that they're kind of their comedy is more the storytelling, which takes a while. Kind of like
that's a good point.
Norm Macdonald and his long jokes, which you got to the end of, and but why'd you come here? Because the light was on. But if you knew the joke about the moth, the moth and the dentist,
all 4 minutes
funny
to get to the punchline.
Yeah,
and so it takes you every
really
single.
Funny, but that's not killer roast stuff, But I think Matt Rife, I think he would be really good.
He would be really good. That's
and he
a good
plays
play.
off. He plays off of a fan, whatever. Anyway, I'm kind of a fan of his, but sometimes I have to flip it, when he gets a little bit too far and stuff. But he would not adhere to the don't go to the short thing that I'm putting on this, but evidently hardly anyone else is. But but I would definitely have Nikki Glazer. I would have Bill Burr's one of my favorites because Bill Burr. You get under his skin a little bit, and he can really come on. He has shots he can take.
He'll go at you.
Yeah, and it just one right after the other. I would definitely have Bill Burr on, and I don't know. I mean, that'd be a pretty good roast right there.
Yeah, I think.
But Nikki Glazer is number one on my list. I think she, in the Tom Brady roast, became a household name for some people who like roasts. Let's put it that way. Maybe some people like steak.
Dave Chappelle would be my number one choice, too. But I think he's passed on roast before, so he wouldn't do it.
Yeah.
Another guy who I love, who I think would be good and intelligent, and he does some form of a roast every single Friday night. I would love Bill Maher. But he's also said on his podcast that he wouldn't do roasts and stuff like that, which I don't know. If they ever have the roast of me, I guess I'll have to cancel Dave Chappelle and Bill Maher off the invite list.
That's what you always wonder about comedians. Like, John Mulaney, I really like his.
Yeah.
I really like his humor, his stand-up and stuff. And he's been through the ringer personally, from some challenges and stuff. But when you zero in on just one guy, and you're roasting, that's one thing. But a lot of these guys, like Nikki Glazer, spreads the wealth around. The great roasters roast everybody on the dais.
Yeah.
They don't just roast the one guy, but they get the shots in, that you need, like sort of like Don Rickles used to do,
I was about to bring him up because you know what? Let's tease that. Tim May had a very, very hot pop culture take before the show that I want to bring to the air next. Stick around, 97.1.
Head to 971thefan.com to listen on demand and subscribe to all our podcasts. Wasting time has never been easier. The Fan, Ohio sports destination.
Hey there, friends. Bo Bishop here from my friends at High Bank Distillery Co. It's well known. High Bank is my go-to when I want an award-winning whiskey, but did you also know that they make the best vodka in America? They have 3 incredible spots here in Central Ohio where the food is just as good as what's in the glass. They've got something for everyone. And get this, kids eat half off every Monday. So whether you're sipping on the best vodka in America or simply grabbing a meal with family and friends, High Bank delivers every time. Find a location and a menu at highbankco.com. Dine, drink, distill at High Bank.
Aetna has been my lifesaver. Easy to understand, and if not, customer service is always there to help.
Those words from a real Aetna Medicare Advantage member speak to why U.S. News & World Report named us a best Medicare Advantage company. Because we show up with care management that ensures doctors work together on complicated conditions. We show up with the latest in online tools to make healthcare easier to use anytime. We show up for you because that's how healthier happens together. Member feedback has been edited for length and clarity.
Forget the pot of gold. Save some green at Coghlan Ford. During Ford Truck Month, take over $13,000 off MSRP, plus no payments until June on select new F-150s. New Bronco Sport or Ranger. Lease for $399 a month for 48 months. Visit CoghlanFord.com.
Coghlan has the car for you.
Factory rebates to dealer. 90-day deferred payments. Not all buyers will qualify. Bronco $399 down. Ranger $2,000 down. 7,500 miles per year. 25 cents per mile over. Excludes $250 dock fee. $395 disposition fee at lease. No security deposit. Ends 3/31/26.
James Laurinaitis here for my guys at Green & Sons, the premier Kubota dealership in Central Ohio. Green & Sons has all the Kubotas you need to tackle your land and come out a winner. They have zero-turns, skid steers, tractors from 18 to 171 horsepower, and also utility vehicles. My favorite is my RTV Sidekick. The best thing about Green & Sons is they've been family-owned and operated since 1970, and you will love dealing with the Green family and their winning team. Do what I did and check out Green & Sons located in Mount Sterling and Marysville or online at greenandsons.com for all your Kubota needs.
At Germain Honda of Dublin, they get it. Nobody grows up dreaming of driving a minivan, but it's hard to argue with unbeatable versatility. Enter the Honda Odyssey, packed with space, comfort, and family-friendly features that make life easier. And if you want efficiency, Germain Honda has you covered with great incentives on hybrid favorites like the CR-V, the Civic, and the Accord. Shop Germain Honda of Dublin on Sawmill Road just south of 270 and at GermainHondaofDublin.com.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. Spring weather is unpredictable. You never know which way you'll be adjusting your thermostat unless you have the right windows. With Window Nation, you can count on your home being comfortable regardless of the weather. Their windows are customizable and energy efficient. Expert installations take just one day, and Window Nation products are backed by a lifetime warranty. There's no better time to upgrade with Window Nation. In March, the more you buy, the more you could save, up to 50% off all window styles and 0% interest for 60 months. Visit windownation.com for your free consultation today.
Think you know Buckeye football? These two say, hold my beer. The Beat with Austin and Berm.
Sponsored by the Waterworks.
Daily on the Fan's YouTube and wherever you get your podcasts. Your home of the Buckeyes, The Fan.
Veterans and active duty service members. When your call to service ends, your mission doesn't have to. Go from GI to IT in just a few months at My Computer Career. Prepare for a high-demand career in cybersecurity, protecting people, systems, and institutions from real cyber threats. Cyber warriors are needed now. Will you answer the call? Go to mycomputercareer.edu/CWP to learn more. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP, an elite CompTIA certification partner. VA education benefits are available to those who qualify.
Ms. Fernandez, what are those tiny things?
Those are what we call amoebas. You can only see them through a microscope.
Wow.
Today's students are tomorrow's great thinkers and innovators. But right now, there's a funding crisis in public schools. Millions of kids go to schools that don't have funding for books, computers, and so much more just because of where they live. You can help change that. Donors Choose is a nonprofit that lets you support students and teachers in your community and beyond. You choose which supplies to support. You could provide first graders with pencils and paper, or other students with their first chapter books, help a music class get a guitar.
You could even supply a classroom like mine with a science project. But what you're really giving is the moment that sparks a brighter tomorrow.
To learn more, please visit DonorsChoose.org. That's DonorsChoose.org. Choose students. Shape the future.
How serious is youth vaping? Irreversible lung damage serious. 1 in 10 kids vape serious, which warrants a serious conversation from a serious parental figure like yourself. Not the seriously know-it-all sports dad or the seriously smart podcaster. It requires a serious conversation that is best had by you. No, seriously, the best person to talk to your child about vaping is you. To start the conversation, visit talkaboutvaping.org. Brought to you by the American Lung Association and the Ad Council.
Fan weather.
From the Logan AC and Heat Services Weather Center.
We'll see partly to most cloudy skies here for today as high temperatures reach the lower 60s for this afternoon. Heading into tomorrow, we're tracking even warmer temperatures with highs back in the lower 70s and then all the way to the upper 70s here on Tuesday. However, it will be quite windy as we go through your Tuesday. And that's a look at your 10 weather impact forecast. I'm meteorologist Aaron White here on 97.1 The Fan.
Matty Ice has a large tattoo on his calf of LeBron eating a lion. I have nothing else to say. Rothman and Ice.
Weekdays from noon to 3.
The Fan. You're listening to The Fan. It's Sunday. We're a sports station, and we shall call it Fan Sports Sunday.
The things you find out in a commercial break. I found out earlier in the show that Tim May was a pilot back in the day.
I was a student pilot.
Flew himself at 16 years old. He got his plane flipped upside down and righted it.
At 18 years old.
Righted the ship. And then
righted the ship.
Yeah, exactly.
Avoided contact with the ground.
And then in this commercial break, I find out that in the roast of Tim May, we got to have Key and Peele show up.
Oh, yeah. As a tag team. I think they are stupid funny.
I think they could do it better than Bert Kreischer and the Two Bears, One Cave did it last year. But
agreed.
The take that you had before the show that I was like, how in the world... How does Tim May not find this? There's one argument that I could make for you that I think that you're going to make in terms of why you don't think Don Rickles is funny. Because
I didn't. No, I want to clarify. I think Don Rickles was funny sometimes, but I thought some of his.
That's an insult.
I didn't like his. I just never. I didn't get him. I mean, I got him, but I didn't. I don't like people that just perpetually just make fun of others or.
That's the job.
I know, but how did that become a job, I guess, is my point. I mean, I just think a lot of his stuff was I don't know, cutting. It was more funny because who has the guts, not guts, who has the wherewithal or the gumption to say stuff about people derogatorily in some respects like he did. I thought a lot of it was observational and really pretty funny. I'm backtracking here only because, there's some of his stuff was really funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. I liked him in Casino, for example. I didn't think he was a great actor, but I thought he was pretty good as an actor. But there were just some stuff I thought he went too far, and a lot of his stuff was kind of recycled onto different people as he went along and stuff. And I didn't think he was as spontaneously funny as some people gave him credit for. I think a lot of it was just the way he delivered it, yelling it or whatever. And I'm talking myself into a hole here only because that was just my take on Don Rickles.
Okay.
I wouldn't want to see him show up at my birthday is what I'm saying.
Well, no, because he's going to tear you in two.
Yeah, he's going to point out every fault I have, which is very many. It'd be a long session.
Well, all right. Do you think this is inevitable with a lot of people then? Not everybody, but when you have a public job, like even us, like in the media.
Yeah.
Do you think it's just inevitable that eventually you just become
jaded?
A bit? No. Well, yes.
Cynical, sarcastic?
Yes, and yes. But like a one-trick pony where you kind of, everybody knows what you are and you kind of lose the excitement. Because your point, the one thing that I would have said to steelman your argument, and you already said it, so I'll just repeat what you said, is that eventually it got redundant. It just was kind of the same thing over and over again.
Yeah.
Okay, Don Rickles is up here. He's going to be mean to everybody. He's going to call out every single race in the audience. Like, it does get to a point where it's like, it's so expected.
Like the way I say, but I digress.
Yeah. But look, anything can be funny if it's clever and unexpected.
Yeah.
But the problem is when Don Rickles gets on stage, despite the fact that I do think he was very funny.
Oh, I thought he was.
Every clip does kind of.
He made a hell of a living, so he was pretty funny. Go ahead.
But you lose half of it. So,
right.
So he had to be entirely clever because nothing was unexpected because you knew exactly what you were going to get.
Right.
And you can say the same thing about radio hosts, is that after a while you kind of know who they are, and then everything's expected, and it just gets kind of bland, and you get kind of blasé about it because it's just like, I already know it's coming.
Yeah.
So you almost feel like you don't have to listen.
Well, yeah. I guess the thing.
Does everybody get to that point? I
guess the thing that bothered me, you can say he had the gut, like Don Rickles, for example, had the guts to say things. Well, Matt Rife, I put him on my list of guys I'd like to see at that roast because Matt Rife will say anything. I mean,
for sure,
and make it funny. And then kind of turn the joke back on either himself or something. But, I don't know. I don't want to go down this line anymore because that was just my take on Don Rickles.
No, it's interesting.
I thought at times he was pretty funny, and at times I didn't like his stuff. So I guess that's it.
Not that I've seen everything Don Rickles has ever done, but a lot of the clips that I see are.
Yeah, you see the clips, the funny stuff.
Right, but it's a lot of crowd work, but it's not.
Right.
It's not like back and forth.
See, I never liked those comedians that came because I went to Rodney Dangerfield's one time with a buddy of mine in New York City, and this one comedian came on, and he was the guy that works the crowd, which I think that's crutch work. I mean, that means you don't have prepared, for one of another term, jokes or stuff you've worked hard on, et cetera. You're just going to go into the crowd till you find somebody funny and lean on that, and that's your shtick. I've always thought that's lazy, personally. And I remember he called him, he hit me and my buddy Mike Vega up, and Mike Vega kind of went back at him in the sense of, he asked, what are you guys in town for? And we said, we're here for the NCAA tournament going on over at the Meadowlands. And he goes, I didn't know about that, blah, blah, blah. And he goes, and I said, yeah, this guy right here, I'm pointing to my buddy Mike. I go, he's actually, we're not really here for that. We're just incognito here. We're actually, Mike's a professional wrestler, and I'm his manager. And he goes, oh, really? And he goes, do you have a name? And Mike goes, yeah, my name is Mil Mascaras. Mike was a, Mexican-American guy, great guy. He was a big, huge dude. And next thing you know, he's telling him I'm his manager. I keep getting him all these crappy bouts and all this. So we kind of turned the tables a little bit on the guy. But the main thing is he was going around and kind of making fun of people. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But he wasn't going to mess with Mike because Mike was about 6'3", about 330 pounds.
All right, Isaiah, what comedians do you want to see on this? Or do you want to see your own roast? Who do you have in your podcast feed? Who are we listening to?
See, I'm thinking for the Kevin Hart one, they have to include The Rock. He has to be included just because they're.
Oh, good.
He has to be up there.
That's a good call.
That's a very good call. If there were betting odds on that, I think you'd win.
Feels like he needs to be up there. Now, if it was for me, comedians I'd like to be included if I was going to get roasted, probably Chris Rock would be on my list. I love Chris Rock. I think he's hilarious. Another one that I don't think would ever do a roast, but I love these guys too, is Jim Carrey and Ben Stiller are two of my favorite comedians of all time. I love those two as well. Those would be two that I would have on my list, but yet again, I don't think they'd ever do a roast, but I love their comedy.
Yeah, Chris Rock, that's a good call, man.
That is a good call.
Didn't even think about him because I guess he's still doing work, right? But
yeah, he just had a special. He had the live special a couple of years ago.
Yeah, I know, but he hadn't listed on any. Like right now, I was looking up lists of guys, just because you forget some of these guys who really make you laugh. But I think Chris Rock was an obvious thing I've totally missed.
But I remember when I was at the comedy club in St. Louis, one of my favorite guys is Big J. Okerson. I don't know if any of you know who that is. He killed it. He was hilarious. It was about.
There's a lot of funny guys out there, brother.
It was a lot of crowd work. Another guy who was really good at crowd work and was an equal opportunist when it came to making fun of people, and I kind of wasn't expecting him to be honest. D.L. Hughley, he was one who was there.
Oh yeah.
I don't know if this guy would do well with the roast, but maybe he could. But Cam Patterson, who is now on SNL. He was big on Kill Tony. He was down in Austin for a while, but now he's working on SNL. Cam Patterson was one of the better ones who came through.
Yeah.
So there were some good comedians who came through, but the crowd work is something that I think that you were kind of downplaying a little bit because I think you said it was lazy.
I just don't. I've never liked it. I think some people go there to be entertained, not be part of the entertainment. I guess my point.
You know what you're signing up for when you get there.
Yeah.
That is well known.
Yeah, if you know a guy,
if you don't want to be a part of the act, don't sit in the first 2 rows.
Yeah, if you know that's that guy's shtick, then you know what you're signing up for, and you could be in the crosshairs.
It's all fair game.
Yeah.
So if you want to sit in the front row, that's on you. And everybody.
Well, that's like saying you go to a rock concert and they invite you up to play guitar, and you don't play guitar. I mean, what are they going to do now? Yeah.
Well, there are some concerts where that happens where. Some prankster will hold up a sign saying, "Hey, can I play a song with you guys?" Then he'll get up there and he'll
I'm not saying some of the crowd work isn't. I'm not saying some of the crowd. I'm not saying some of the crowd work isn't funny. A lot of it's extremely. Matt Rife, that's what he does.
Right. And but, so I think that's actually more impressive than necessarily what a Don Rickles did, because in terms of, I think you were kind of like painting Don Rickles to be a bully, and I get it, but like I also think it's funny. Yeah. So like I'll put up with it. But the difference between Don Rickles and Matt Rife is that Don Rickles it was just one-way crowd where he wasn't engaging with the audience like that. He was just going to audience members, making fun of them, and then moving on. But like Matt Rife does, as many comedians do, but he feeds off of what the audience gives him. He is so quick with it.
Yes.
Like, even if he is bullying them, everybody, look, man, they get outnumbered because everyone else is laughing. So it is funny like that.
Yeah. I that's what I said. He was on my list, but it's just, I shouldn't even told you that about Don Rickles. I don't know why it came up because he can't even do roast now.
It got me a segment.
He's in
what
the
are you
ground.
talking about? That's good.
Yeah.
One less. That's 12 less minutes for me to worry about content-wise. Thank you, Tim May.
I've done a couple of roasts and and had fun doing them, and they both involve Bobby Rahal and stuff. But I
really?
spent some time, and then I enjoyed doing them, and they were funny, and in my opinion, I got good feedback. And then somebody can say, "Well, what about your National Football Foundation award speech?" And I'll crawl back into my rabbit hole.
Up next, we're going to try to book Dylan Davis of the Delaware Gazette for the roast of Tim May. He'll be on in 2 minutes. Stick around. 97.1.
Need a roof you can count on? Ramos Roofing has protected homes and businesses throughout Ohio for almost 20 years. Whether it's a leaky roof, storm damage, new siding, or new gutters to protect your foundation, Ramos Roofing delivers quality materials, professional installation, and honest service every time. Get your free roof or exterior assessment today and ask about Ramos Roofing's no-interest financing options. Call 614-761-7663 or visit online at ramosroofingohio.com.
The madness is on and the deals are going full court at Germain Toyota of Columbus. Drive home the Powerhouse 2026 Tundra at 2.99% APR for up to 72 months and $1,000 Toyota financial cash. That's a slam dunk offer. Or you can drive home in the always reliable 2026 Camry LE for just $269 a month for 36 months, 10,000 miles a year, and $36.99 due at signing. Don't sit on the sidelines. Hustle into Germain Toyota of Columbus on the corner of I-70 and Bryce Road or online at germaintoyota.net.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Aaron?
Yeah, Jerry?
Something is wrong.
Something's wrong?
Yeah, it's definitely something.
Get Eco.
ECO.
Thumping and bumping and jumping.
What is?
But it's not pumping.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry?
Yeah, Aaron.
Are we talking about your sump pump?
Yeah. Isn't it great?
Isn't what great?
I like the sound of it. Sump pump. Sump pump, sump pump, sump pump.
Get Eco.
ECO. Jerry, can you keep a secret?
Aaron, I'm as silent as a bank vault in Switzerland.
I kind of like to say it too.
Hey, I should invent a sump pump that lets you know when it's working.
How would it do that?
It would say, sump pump, sump pump, sump pump.
That's a great idea, Jerry, but a sump pump should be exactly like you.
How so?
As silent as a bank vault in Switzerland.
Get Eco.
ECO. Eco plumbers, electricians, and HVAC technicians.
GetEco.com.
No hot takes, no dancing, plenty of stupid. Bishop and Friends.
Weekdays from 9 to noon.
The Fan, Ohio sports destination. Coffee? These guys don't need coffee. They're jacked on life and Buckeye football. You're listening to Fan Sports Sunday.
I'm taking it upon myself to organize the roast of Tim May, whether he likes it or not.
I will not show up.
He may not show up, but we'll find out.
Dylan Davis would.
Yep, we'll find out if we can book Dylan Davis of the Delaware Gazette as he joins us now on the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems Fan Guest Hotline. Dylan, would you be available to roast Tim May?
Gentlemen, I would be more than happy to take part in that.
Thank you. All right, so I got one.
Dylan not only has lighter fluid, he has charcoal.
We are, so word on the street is, and you can guess who my source is, that somebody is saying that you may be decked head to toe in black and gold today as the Boston Bruins are in town facing the Blue Jackets. Can you confirm or deny?
That is indeed true. I can't confirm that. It's all black and gold today. It was all Sox on Thursday, black and gold today for the Bees. Excited to head down to the arena and hopefully see a win.
Hey, and give us the Reader's Digest version. By the way, this guy covers Ohio State football and basketball and everything Ohio State and other things for the Delaware Gazette. You can see him at delgazette.com. He does good work and also plays golf with me. So there, he's got one handicap he deals with when he plays golf. He's got his own handicap and then mine. But in a nutshell, Dylan, because I told you I wasn't going to put you, wasn't going to make you take long. Why are you a fan of the Boston Bruins, the Boston Celtics, and the Boston Red Sox? I think you're sort of a nebulous fan of the New England Patriots because they don't play in town. Heck, they almost play in Rhode Island. But explain to people why that came about, because you were born and raised in the Midwest Ohio area around Urbana. So go ahead.
Yes, sir. So I grew up, my dad was a big Celtics fan, big Larry Bird fan, so I had that with me, and then, went to Fenway, from a very early age, young, and so that kind of just took hold with me. So Sox and Celtics from a very early age, and then I wasn't a major hockey fan as a kid, kind of picked that up as I got a little bit older, and naturally took on the Bruins there as well. So just spent a lot of time in the city. It means a lot to us. It's where I got engaged with my wife at. It's where we vacation frequently. We spend a lot of time up there. It's just a place that's meant a lot to us, and certainly the sports teams go along with that. So you're right. I am not a Pats fan, though. So for anybody out there who's confused by that, I am not a Pats fan.
There you go. By the way, my brother-in-law and his family, they're all from the my in-laws are all from the Boston, greater Boston area. They're big Pat fans, but they weren't for several years. If you follow my drift, hot and cold.
Yeah,
hey, real quick, how big a game is this you're going to attend this afternoon tonight? I mean, can you put it in plain English of what's up for grabs for the Blue Jackets and the Bruins? I mean, you heard Coach Bonas say last night after the Blue Jackets got beat by San Jose, sort of a surprise loss for want of another term. They had tired legs, and it showed. But they still had the lead going into the third period, and ended up blowing it. But how huge is this in terms of making the playoffs for both these teams?
There's no two ways about it. This is a very important hockey game for both of these teams. They're two teams that are kind of coming into this game feeling a little bit different about themselves. As you mentioned, bad loss for the Jackets yesterday. I think they've lost 3 out of their last 4, all in regulation.
Yep.
Meanwhile, the Bruins are coming in. They've won 4 of their last 5 and got a very big 2 points against a very good Minnesota team yesterday. So you look in terms of, if you're looking at the wild card, if these two teams are going to be battling the wild card, I think a win today in regulation would give the Bruins a 5-point advantage over the Jackets.
Wow.
So they'd be, with like 7 or 8 games to play, so they'd be very, very well clear of the Jackets in that regard. Now, the Bruins are still looking at the Canadians to try to get that 3rd spot in the Atlantic Division as well. So, and I know that the Jackets very well could end up getting one of those last spots in the Metropolitan Division for that playoff spot. Very big. This whole race is fascinating. There's so many different teams that are still alive, whether it be in the division or for one of those 2 wild card spots. But make no mistake about it, this is a very important game for both of these teams, not just in terms of the standings, but momentum as well. If the Bruins can continue to build on the momentum they have against another really good team, that would be huge. And the Jackets really need this win today.
Yeah, they need it. They need it in regulation, is what I mean, more than anything else, right? I mean, that's double pressure. But I'm looking forward. Hey, real quick, you were at Pro Day, and you were at the Jeremiah Smith interview yesterday along with Cortez Hankton. I mean, just give me a thought, just one thought coming out of Pro Day, watching those former Buckeyes take part. My favorite part, as I keep telling everybody, was Caden McDonald screaming while he did his drills, which, wow. If you didn't have your attention before, he had it during the drills. He said that was really part of his plan. I ran an interview with him on my podcast. But what was your take? What stood out to you more than anything else?
I'll be honest with you, gentlemen. Maybe it's not fair to the guys that were truly working out with something to really gain. But what stood out to me was watching the 2 quarterbacks.
Yes.
To the receivers. To be honest with you, and maybe again that's unfair because it's the glamour position. But I promise you that a lot of those scouts and execs in attendance were really focused in on that as well. And I thought both of them looked pretty good.
Julian Sain, by the way, and Tavian St. Clair is who we're talking about. Go ahead.
Yes, sir. Yeah. So that that stood out to me as well. I know there was some mixed reactions, and I say mixed reactions. Some of these reactions were from people who have no business evaluating potential draft picks. But Arvell Reese, I thought, just his physicality or just his physical build up, he just looked really good running around out there. But what do I know? And then the third thing, maybe it's just because he's just kind of been a fan favorite of mine, if you will. Tywone Malone looked really good working out there. I know it's not a guy that people are going to talk about, or I'm not sure where his draft position ultimately is, but he looked good running around out there. And I asked Ryan about this when we were done, when we got the chance to talk to Ryan Day for a few minutes, because the thing about Taiwan is, I think everybody knows, he played baseball for his first couple of years at Ole Miss. He was very much a two-sport athlete. And, when he finally stopped playing baseball or focusing on baseball and was able to just solely be a football player, he really started to come into his own a little bit. So I'm curious, because he has the physical build. He looks really good running around out there. And if he can continue to just perfect being a football player, I think there's better days ahead for Taiwan Malone as well. And so I'm happy to see him work out well.
Of the big four, and the big four are obvious of the Buckeyes, who do you think is the safest draft pick? Arvell, Downs, Styles, Carnell Tate. Who's the safest draft pick?
I'm going to have to pick Caleb Downs. I think that's probably the easy answer. Just because I don't think there are any questions with any of these guys about their mental makeup or their ability to come in and just be, some of the hardest workers in the room. But I know for sure that Caleb Downs is going to go in there. He's going to be mentally ready to play that position for the most part, probably early on in camp. So you don't have to worry about any kind of mental jump that they have to make, and maybe you don't with the other guys as well, but I know for sure you don't with Caleb Downs, and so I think that's the safest one. I'm close to saying Sonny Styles as well, though, because I think his size and his ability to run, you're going to find a way to make that guy fit into your defense. So I'm close to saying that as well, but I think the easiest answer is it's got to be Caleb Downs.
Yeah, both of those guys could be in your defense for a long time, barring injury. I mean. The two guys you named, and I agree 100%. I think Caden McDonald makes it a 5-man first round for the Buckeyes. That's just my take, because it's going to be interesting. Hey, jumping tracks now. We got to talk to Jeremiah Smith and Cortez Hankton yesterday. Really, it's the first mass thing we've done with Cortez Hankton, although, there was that little session we had, the off-the-record session with all the coaches and stuff before, which was interesting, right? You learned stuff.
Yeah.
I learned stuff.
Oh, yeah.
It's good to know stuff so you can still say stuff and not say where it came from, right? But go ahead. I would ask you.
I didn't get a chance to. I didn't get a chance to talk to Cortez that night at Roosters, so that was actually the first chance I've gotten to hear from him at all.
Yeah, but here's my take. I wanted to get your take on it. Yeah, he's stepping into some big shoes, Brian Hartline's shoes, right? But you know what? Cortez Hankton has big shoes. He's not walking in shoeless. When you look at his resume, Georgia, LSU, right on down the line, played. It's a different version maybe of Brian Hartline. What's your take on that? I've been impressed. I'm telling you, Ryan Day's become a pretty good hirer, if that's the way you say the word, of coaches here recently. Definitely the last several years. But I think Cortez Hankton is quite an impressive dude.
Without question, I was very impressed with him when the first chance we got to talk to him. His resume speaks for itself. I know some fans were kind of hot or cold on the hire, but you absolutely hit the nail on the head. Ryan Day has earned the benefit of the doubt when it comes to hiring coaches around him. He's more often than not, he's nailing his hires, and I firmly believe that Cortez Hankton's another one of those guys. Again, he's worked with, as you said, some really good talent. And he's going to continue to do so here. Now, look, the Brian Hartline standard that's a heck of a place to try to reach, because he both did it in recruiting and he also did it in development and getting these guys ready to play from a very early stage when they got to Ohio State. So that's going to be a tough bar to reach. Not to say that Cortez can't get that room there again, but that's a tough bar. But I'm certainly impressed with him. Loved what he had to say. Certainly about getting the ball in guys' hands and then being dangerous with the ball after the catch.
Yes.
I think that's something that certainly was lacking. I think we could all agree on that.
Yeah. Even Jeremiah Smith brought that up. It was kind of not a failing, but a definite place where everybody, including himself, can get better. I wanted to ask you real quick before we go, what just jumped out about Jeremiah Smith and, some of the things he said? Obviously, we got on somebody asked him about, being a sought-after dude at the end of the season last year. And then I followed up with, what kind of offers came your way, or, who was, I'm paraphrasing, but who was most interesting. He left no doubt who it was, but he didn't name the team. So I won't name the team, but they're not the Red Hawks. I'll leave it at that. but he, being him has been an interesting time in this transfer portal era, right, where offers come your way. So it stood out that, somebody did make a big play for him, even though he never got into the portal. But what else stood out about what he had to say to us?
I think just in general, the level of maturity, I think year after year, we've seen him just kind of grow more and more into his own and be more comfortable with his status and who he is.
Agreed.
And I think it's really impressive to say because like I think we're all so enamored with like who he is and how ready he was to be a superstar from day one, and we still forget that he was 18 years old. So I think it was striking to me that he was, you know, how mature he was the other day, and then also. Not that anybody would be surprised by this, given his legendary work ethic, really, but like just his willingness to still continue to perfect his craft and be better, and know that there are areas he can still get better. Like that's a crazy thing to consider, that Jeremiah still has plenty of room to grow and be better as a receiver. But that's true, and he knows that, and he's certainly going to put that work in, which is a scary proposition, both for defenses now and then certainly at the next level. So that's really what struck me as well. Obviously, you know, the comments about the NIL stuff certainly kind of took on a life of its own on Saturday, as you would expect. We know what that program was, but I'd say some of the other things I've heard just in general about what Jeremiah Smith has turned down to leave Ohio State is we're just really shocked from people if you really stop and consider how you would be able to turn that down. So I think Jeremiah Smith's loyalty to Ohio State and his commitment to being a Buckeye and seeing this through should just really be applauded, because some of the stuff, again, that he's turned down to not leave Ohio State is really kind of jaw-dropping when you hear it and consider it.
Yeah, but we also know he's not going broke staying at Ohio State either.
That's very true.
Dylan, we appreciate your time, man. Thanks for joining us today.
Always a pleasure. Thank you, fellas.
You bet. Dylan Davis via the Bryant Heating and Cooling Systems fan guest hotline of the Delaware Gazette. You can check him out. And, we got the doink. And doink. I learned the word nebulous. And we booked a guest for the roast of Tim May. So very productive interview. 11 down, 1 to go. Stick around, 97.1.
We're the girthiest radio station in the history of radio. Uncomfortably girthy. This promo is uncomfortable. The Fan, Ohio's girth destination.
I knew that the first hour and a half of my day was going to be excruciating pain. I mean, it was so much pain, it literally brought tears to my eyes.
Dad to a prominent Ohio basketball family, Satch Sullinger was determined to find relief. And that's exactly what happened.
QC Kinetics, they are awesome. This is my body that they're using to repair itself. And so who wouldn't want to go for that?
QC Kinetics natural treatments got Satch's attention. Finally, a way to get rid of that pain in his knees without going under the knife. And best of all, they used his own healing properties to give him relief.
Since I've been having the treatment, I can go up and down steps. So I'm getting better. And my golf game shows it, because I'm starting to hit the ball a little bit better now.
Find out if you're a candidate for QC Kinetics treatments. Go to qckinetics.com/Columbus and call today for your complimentary consultation. 380-208-4544. That's 380-208-4544. Again, 208-4544. QC Kinetics.
Our yoga instructor challenged us to find inner peace. I found it faster than anyone. After 4 seconds, I stood up and screamed, "I found Nirvana! I win!" They asked me to leave. I guess they don't respect winning. Bet365 does, though. New customers get $365 in bonus bets just for betting $10. Namaste, losers. Bet365. Winning is everything. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-MY-RESET. 21 plus only. Must be physically located in Ohio. T&Cs apply. In-app only.
March Madness is here again, and so is a Great Clips $12.99 haircut coupon. From dominating the bracket pool to demolishing game day snacks, Great Clips gets that March is every fan's favorite month. And with a $12.99 haircut coupon, your hair can be as ready for the action as you are. Grab a $12.99 haircut coupon now at greatclips.com/March Madness. Great Clips, official hair salon of March Madness. Valid only at participating U.S. salons. Terms apply. March Madness is a trademark of the National Collegiate Athletic Association.
It's Timmy Hall here with Gordon Miller, founder of Miller Lending. Now, Gordon, I remember hearing of your no-cost mortgages back in 2008 when I was on the air in Raleigh-Durham. So what brings you to Central Ohio?
Hey, Tim. Small world, isn't it? But we saw Columbus as the perfect market to offer our no-closing cost mortgage product. With a growing population and relocations, it was similar to our original decision to expand into Raleigh back in '96.
Well, I got to see firsthand how well it worked in Carolina. So how about explaining to our listeners how it truly has no closing cost associated?
That's right, Tim. Way back in 1987, I found a way to do mortgages without using the standard method of buying the rate down with thousands of dollars in various costs. Rates were volatile, much like they are today. And folks were stuck at higher rates because it simply cost too much to refinance. There had to be a better way, and we think we found it.
That was Gordon Miller, founder of Miller Lending, the home of the no-cost loan. Give him a call, 877-9-NO-COST, or online at nocostmortgage.com. Miller Lending is an equal housing lender, NMLS number 2502146.
bacon, sausage, egg, cheese, made from scratch biscuits, fresh baked croissants, cinnamon swirl French toast. Hungry? Grab a hot UDF breakfast sandwich made in store for your morning. UDF, mornings made for you.
At St. Jude, every innovation we make is a moment we give to children with cancer everywhere. But we can't do it without you.
Learn more at stjude.org.
Forget the pot of gold. Save some green at all 4 Coghlan Kia locations. Get 0% plus no payments for 90 days on select new Kia Sorrentos, Sportages, and Tellurides. Or buy a new 2026 Kia K4 for $279 a month. Visit CoglanKia.com.
Coghlan has the car for you.
0% APR available for 48 months on select in-stock units. 90-day deferred payments. 5 for $279 per month for 84 months at 5.99% APR with approved credit through Kia Finance. See dealer for details. Ends 3/31/26.
Like a rite of spring, Tee to Green begins Masters Week. Hosted by Skip Mossick, Lifetime Achievement Award winner by the Southern Ohio PGA. It adds a touch of class to the radio station.
Hey, everybody, we're all going to get laid.
Saturday mornings at 9 on The Fan.
Hey, it's Matty Ice. March is here. McDaniel GM Superstore in Marion is rolling out 26 Chevy Silverado 1500s with below supplier pricing for everyone. That means savings up to $12,000 off MSRP, or lease a brand new Silverado for $279 a month for 24 months with $3,998 due at signing. Rules and restrictions apply. See dealer for details. The McDaniel GM Superstore has been family owned for over 100 years. They're just off Route 23 in Marion, or visit McDanielGMSuperstore.com. Chevrolet, together, let's drive.
Hey, what's up? It's T-Bone. If I said 0% interest for 60 months, you're probably saying, I don't even know what it is I have to buy. How do I get 0% interest? No one has that these days. Well, good news. Window Nation. You can count on them making your home more comfortable with their energy-efficient windows. They've got expert installers that'll put those windows in a day, and they're backed by a lifetime warranty. But here's the deal. In March, the more you buy, the more you could save with Window Nation. Up to 50% off all window styles. And yes, 0% interest for 60 months. Find out more. WindowNation.com.
The Fan Guest Hotline is sponsored by Weston Air Heating and Cooling and Bryant, doing whatever it takes to keep you and your home comfortable. The Fan.
Take The Fan with you wherever you go with the Fan app. Download it now, or we'll find you. You bring your lunch money today? Good, give it to us. This is Fan Sports Sunday.
We got to be able to find somebody from either 10 TV or The Fan to participate in this roast of Tim May.
There'd probably be a line if they could just take shots at me. There'd probably be a big line out the door.
I bet Rothman could do it. I bet he could script a couple minutes.
Dom DeBerry could do it.
Dom DeBerry for
my old buddy Paul Spahn, my regular golfing partner, who's been under the weather but is coming back.
See, we're building a lineup.
He could definitely do it. But see, they know things about me that the average person doesn't. So I don't know if I'd even want them be. Would I have the right of refusal for some of them?
Veto power.
I'm sure I've stepped on a lot of people's toes over the years, and they could probably do it.
Oh, you made some enemies in your career.
Yeah, Jim Trussell might do it, for example. No, but it'd be interesting. It'd be an interesting lineup.
Hey,
it'd be tough, though, because I wouldn't be there.
Well, yeah, ducking your own roast.
Yeah, just be a cutout of me there, which might get more people to show up.
I'm not even a Guardians fan, but does the name Chase DeLauder mean anything to anybody here?
Means something to me. I'm a big Guardians fan.
Okay, well, there you go. So long as you don't have a bedtime, you are currently witnessing history, because in the first 3 games of his career, which really aren't the first 3 games of his career, because first of all, this cat, outfielder for the Guardians, started his career in a playoff game.
Yeah,
he got called up for the playoffs.
Playoffs?
Yeah, exactly. Never played in the regular season. He's starting playoff games in the outfield. He kind of looked a little bit flustered and was like bobbling the ball a little bit, but now he's had a whole off season of training, spring training. He's up. He's got his first, I guess some people want to call this his first game. I guess technically if we're just going off of regular season stats, you can, but he's having his first series against Seattle. He has 4 home runs and 5 RBIs in his first 3 games so far. So Chase DeLauder, absolutely tearing the cover off the ball, 357 average, and his OPS is over 1,500. So
that's pretty good.
That dude, I'm going to celebrate that dude for a little bit. I don't think his career is going to necessarily look like this, but that's just something that caught my eye.
My son Corey, who's a huge Cleveland fan of the sport of the day, is on top of it. And I mean, you celebrate what you can celebrate when you're a Guardians fan.
No question. I think he's got home runs off of like George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, and Andres Munoz. Like, hey, those are 3 all-star pitchers for Seattle.
Incredible start. He was drafted in 2022, and so he was. He's a rookie, but like he's 4 years into his.
Was he out of high school though?
I'm not sure if he was out of high school. I know that his first appearance, like you said, was last year in the wild card round. He did record a hit at his very first at bat. So he's kind of been a coveted prospect for the Guardians for a while that we keep on hearing about. They're going to pull him up finally, and this year he's been killing. I think his odds to win Rookie of the Year shot from like 20-1 to now they're 320-1 or something.
Everything's knee jerk in this world, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah. So he got drafted out of James Madison. So that's. You do the clockwork on that. He's only 24 though, so that's not that bad. You wish that you could have everybody be a rookie at like 19 years old, but whatever.
Right.
But so I wanted to just kick it around, easy, light topic, not super baseball heavy. And everybody's got this. The bucket list of ballparks that you want to go to. Your 3 favorite ballparks, either the ones that you've been to or ones that you haven't been to. I'll get it kicked off. By the way, 5640 is when Isaiah Jacob is throwing it to break, whether we are mid-sentence or not. So we'll figure that out. Number 1, bias selection for me, because I'm a Pirates fan, but I've been there, no joke, 20 times, and it is the best scene. It's hard for me to believe that I'll ever find a better one. PNC Park.
I stayed in the Residence Inn right across the street.
Yep.
From there when I was at the U.S. Open last year as a volunteer, and I went to Major League Baseball games for the first time in about 15 years. I went back-to-back nights. What a great stadium.
Oh, man.
What a great setting. I think they
as long as you don't look down and actually watch the game.
Get this, though. I'm at, after the first night, I'm back, my volunteer post the next day at the U.S. Open out at Oakmont, and I said, man, I went to tell my buddy of mine, I went to my first Major League Baseball game last night. He goes, well, where? He goes, at PNC Park. I saw Pittsburgh play Miami. And he goes, well, you didn't really go to a Major League Baseball game.
Yeah, you went to a Major League Park, but you didn't go to a Major League game.
I tell you, but Skeens, I was hoping I'd get to watch him pitch, but obviously he wasn't in the rotation for those games. But what a great setting for a baseball park.
I'm putting that at number 1. Number 2, I have not been there, but it's so way up there on the bucket list. I want to go to San Francisco and catch one in Oracle on the Bay. That stadium looks so cool.
Yeah.
It always looks sunny and beautiful there. I would love to go there. And number 3, I guess I would say Fenway. Haven't been there either. I haven't been to that many, to be honest with you.
My boy Dylan Davis has been there many times.
I'm sure he has. What other ones am I missing that you would have on yours?
For me, one is T-Mobile Park in Seattle. I think if I went to Seattle,
really?
Yes, absolutely. I think if I've been to Seattle before. I haven't been for a Mariners game, but I'd love to hit 2 and 1. I'd love to be there for a Mariners game and then also going to the Seahawks game. I think their stadiums there, like the backdrop of Seattle, is really, really cool. So that would be one that's a little bit obscure that would be on my list.
A lot of players on podcasts say that Arrowhead and Seattle are the 2 most raucous atmospheres for NFL games too.
Yeah, I believe that.
You find yourself in a great one.
Yeah.
You ever been to Wrigley?
Never been to Wrigley.
Neither have I.
By the way, Arrowhead Stadium, they're talking about building their new stadium over across the river.
In Kansas?
Or not across the river, across the border in Kansas. So it'll be interesting to see if the atmosphere moves with them.
Yeah, I imagine that it would. Yankee Stadium, I guess, is that's fine. I'm actually more interested in seeing Citi Field than I am Yankee Stadium. For
Really?
Yeah.
I've never been to Fenway. I've been to, I've been meaning to go there. But my middle kid, Corey, and I, we were going to take a baseball tour several summers in a row. We tried to set one up and never got to get it done because of work or whatever. But that would be on my list.
All right, hey, you left me 7 seconds. Hey,
my
check that clock, Tim May.
Oh yeah, there you go.
Oh, we gotta go. We'll talk to you next time. Stick around, 97.1.
The Big 9 was a sad, incomplete place. Enter Ohio State. The rest is history. The Buckeye Show.